like do 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 do, like do 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 crazy, oh 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 crazy, oh 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 crazy crazy, oh oh crazy, oh 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 crazy, do 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 crazy, do 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 crazy, do 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 crazy, do 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 crazy crazy, do do like do 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 do, like do 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 crazy, oh do like do 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 do, like do 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 crazy, oh. Do
Welcome in everyone to Titan Esports Divinity League. This is week number 1 of the fall split. Super excited to get back into some grassroots League of Legends. I'm Caleb Payne. I'm joined with Anti. How are you doing today?
Hello. I am doing quite well. It's been a bit of time since the last time I was on the mic, and I'm glad to be here with you, and especially to kick off the Divinity League in fall for Titan Esports. I mean, this is the first stream that we're having for the fall season as a whole, so very fun start to start things off, and especially with 2 teams filled with players that we do very much know, right? So we have people like Soxathize, who have been longtime veterans in the scene. We have, Fenbach coming in and maybe in a role that we're not necessarily used to seeing them in, but I'm really excited to see how things go, especially now with the Worlds patch really throwing a wrench into things. I'd love to see some Jax priority from either team, but who knows how things are going to work out.
That's right. And I think the last time we had Divinity on a tournament going on, Yunar wasn't even allowed yet. So Yunar's now in as well, and in the hands of some players, she does look pretty unstoppable. So very excited to see how first week kicks off. We are in group number A. It is going to be Conduit Cyber Cuties versus TPO Reapers in this first round. And for those that want a reminder too, this is going to be Emerald 4 and below in terms of skill level for our players. And we have, a match every Monday, of course, broadcasted here, but also many matches going on behind the scenes as well. There's going to be 7 weeks of group stage, and then 8 teams go into those playoffs, 14 teams in total, $420 in prize pool, and a lot of bragging rights as well on the line. So I'm very excited to see how this goes, and I think our players are almost ready, so we could probably head it over to the draft pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm honestly super excited to see how things do come into fruition here. As I said, right, this is the Worlds patch. This is where we have a lot of not necessarily huge changes, but the changes enough that you're going to see certain champions be sort of thrust into the meta. Jax being one of them. Twitch, not really something that I would have anticipated, but I will say the Jinx buff to that auto range, not insignificant, and Twitch, one of those champions that does make it a little bit more difficult for Jinx to do what she wants. So you take away the Twitch, you take away the Lulu, you allow the opportunity to pick Jinx on B1, and now if you do want to give up that Jax, you have a long range hyper carry that can at least kite him out.
That's right. And for those that are newer to Divinity League or Titan Esports, we do run a fearless format. So anything drafted in prior games will be ineligible for subsequent games. And of course, because it's Divinity League as well too, we often see a lot more respect bans maybe than meta pick bans, because if you know your opponents pretty well too, and you see that maybe they don't have the highest mastery on some of these meta champs, then maybe not really worth the ban. Might be a good Twitch player here. We get the orange pick up. Okay, so I mean, I guess on blue side, you could potentially get counter picked on the top side anyway, but starting off with the orange, which is pretty bold.
Okay, actually, I was gonna say, there's no way that it was an orange pick on first. Okay, so it is gonna be the Wukong pickup. And just as you were mentioning, Caleb, a lot of these picks and bans are very clearly targeted towards players. And as we mentioned before, these are teams with players that we know, teams with players that are not unknown as far as the variables go. The Jinx can be taken off the table, especially good now that Twitch is gone. But you really would have anticipated something along the lines of a Jinx priority with the Twitch Lulu taken off the table. But at the very least, the Mel does mean that you have some sort of long-range poke, some sort of long-range DPS to really threaten that Jinx, so you can't just walk up and do whatever you want.
Yeah, we get that Mumu second pickup, and then responded by the Mel and the Bard. So Bard going to be the support, so not going to be a support Mel, likely going to be Mel in that mid side, but once in a while we see Mel in that bot lane. We get the Milu pickup to round out the support on the side of Conduit. Now second round of bans coming through. Yone gonna be the first ban.
Yeah, definitely gonna be interesting to see what they do take out here. And that Yone does tell me they're almost certainly expecting this Mel to be APC Mel. And with the slight buffs to Mel recently, I honestly don't quite remember what they did buff. It does mean that the champion still remains in a good enough spot that you can be very flexible. The Mordekaiser pick being taken away, does mean that it opens up champions like the Orange, so that way you can just kind of throw that up in that top lane and say like, hey, you're never getting ganked, we're leaving you on an island, do whatever it is you want. Ahri going to be picked into that mid lane, should be fine into basically anything that could be as a response in mid. But right now, we're going to be seeing the comps fully rounded out. We've got a pretty decent team fighting composition right now.
Ooh.
The Yasuo.
Okay,
so we still don't really know between mid and bot, but we'll see.
Yeah, a lot of dashes on both sides here too. Going to see how that goes. But yeah, it could be. Oh, okay. Here's the Ornn. So Ornn is going to round out that top side. I do like it too. Getting some front line, some additional CC as well for the team. We got the final pick on the side of Conduit. It's going to be a top laner here. It's going to be the Darius. Okay. The Darius, very aggressive lane there too. I mean, Ornn is one of the champs that definitely hang in that matchup quite a bit. I don't know. I think TPO's team looks pretty solid. No true ADC though on their side, but they have plenty of damage dishing out here. Meanwhile, you got the high parry Jinx on the side of Conduit. Which draft are you favoring more here, Anti?
Honestly, I do find it really interesting because right now we have two teams where their entire purpose is, hey, can we deathball the other team harder than they can deathball us, right? But Darius has the ability to just sit in that side lane and say, hey, you want a deathball? Cool. You're going to have to do it 4v4 because Ornn is staying with me, right? And Ornn's going to be trapped up in that top lane, can't really do so much against the Darius for a hell of a long time. And while you will have that extra gold value, onto your Yasuo, onto your Mel, it's going to be pretty difficult to have the same kind of team fighting prowess in a 4v4 type of situation. So I am going to be giving that edge over to Cute here, as the 44 composition, very, very solid. However, the pick opportunities with that Bard could spell the complete difference.
Yeah, definitely one of those champions that in their right hands can really just make or break team fights. I think I agree with your assessment too, and I think the team fight execution is a little bit easier on the side of Conduit. But it's in the right situations for TPO, they could definitely execute as well. But you got the Mumu, pretty consistent, CC and crowd control. Darius can just put in some work, and once you get the recess on the Jinx, you got the melee keeping her alive, it could be quite good here. So going to see how this plays out as well. I don't know, any particular lanes you think are particularly strong? I think the bot lane will be pretty strong for the side of TPO with that constant poke from Mel. But you do have Melia just keeping up the health bar on the Jinx, and Jinx probably just want to just farm up as much as you can, just maybe not play as aggressively into that lane for the earlier parts.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, the bot lane for TPO is honestly a really big concern for me, right? Mel can poke the Jinx, right? Mel can continue to make Jinx's life a little bit more difficult, but how much kill pressure do you actually have onto a Jinx with Emilio, right? So that's the reason why the Bard pickup is solid. You can say, hey, screw bot lane, we're going somewhere else, but you don't really know how much value you're going to get out of those roams when that means Jinx just gets to farm as much as she wants, right? Jinx with Emilio means that you can just auto attack from a whole state away, and it's going to be very, very difficult to see how they can actually pressure this bot lane if they're not dragging more members down here.
That's right. Well, here we go. Game number 1, TPO versus Cutes to start things off. Week number 1 of the Divinity League. This is going to be a best of 3 as well. So we'll have at least another game, and if we're lucky, maybe a third game as well.
Yeah, I mean, in the meantime, TLP going to be pushed off here. We're getting some fun little laughing here, but I don't know how well this is gonna go. All right, I mean, first game of the season, you gotta respect it, right?
You gotta respect it until someone breaks the trust here, but it looks like no BMing so far in this side. We got some rotations coming over, but no, Roy joining in on some of the fun too with the Ornn. Hey, whole squad is over here. Oh wait, that's
no,
drawing the first shot there as well. Okay, I'm sure Q's gonna remember that one.
Yeah, and just like that mana flow band already procced, Reapers are fully in the lead. There's just so little that they can that Conduit can do about this.
Yeah. All right. Well, here we go. Here it's going to be the Ari versus Yasuo. Not a particularly bad matchup for either here, but just really just depends on who gets the far ahead. But Yasuo definitely going to be pretty comfortable here. Nothing to really stop his dashes.
Yeah, nothing to stop the dashes. I will say it's going to be pretty interesting seeing the electrocute Ari come on through, right? We're not going to be having the same kind of poke from the, airy Ari, nothing too crazy like that. But we're also not having the super heavy poke only Ari when the grasp was really popular, right? It's that very much, I don't really care so much about the laning itself. Once I get over to those other lanes, I'm going to pop someone and make their life a living hell.
Yeah, that's right. I actually noticed too, Yasuo is running Exhaust Flash. So definitely going to be pressuring a lot on the kill side of things and try to make a good use of that exhaust here. As you can see, a little skirmishing here. Socks the thighs a little bit on the lower end. Should be able to get out okay. Dodges the knockup, but has to walk a little bit forward to avoid this. So it takes 2 more autos, but already getting a little bit uncomfortable for this Ari. No summoners burned on either side, though.
Yeah, no summoners burned just yet. I mean, at the very least, Socks Ties with that teleport should be in a decent enough position, especially with the wave now pushed in after Blocky Panda did walk up, get a great trade. But with the wave essentially frozen under Ari's tower, it's so difficult for Yasuo to actually make much use out of this now. The exhaust means that it's very difficult to have the 2v2 win, but having the actual kill pressure is a different story entirely.
That's right. We see the skirmish going on this top lane as well. Generally more favorable for Darius, especially in this early game. But you can see Roy is going to respect this Darius. I mean, Ornn just a pretty safe pick overall in this top lane. So I do like their decision to pick this Ornn blind there, knowing that there was going to be a counter pick.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, though, it's just going to be the Wukong continuing to outpace the Amumu. There's very little that Amumu can do here. Whoa, big trade coming in for Roy.
Oh, Ludacris is actually in a little bit of trouble here. Oh, the flash forward as well, trying to get that first blood, and Roy is going to secure that for TPO. Definitely going to be a huge advantage for this Ornn coming into this matchup there, and not where you want to start out if you're behind from the Darius. Maybe just stayed a little bit too greedy there, as we see more skirmishing going in this mid lane as well. I think just pokes on both ends here, as both players are able to get out.
Yeah, both players able to get out, but I gotta say, Ludacris not being able to get out in that top lane is so difficult for the Darius. You don't have teleport. The flash was extended, and the fact that Roy managed to get that kill, burns the flash, literally just at the end doesn't even throw a final auto out, just watches the Darius die to that final minion auto. It's just, Ornn is one of those matchups where, theoretically speaking, Darius absolutely demolishes the Ornn. But you cannot negate the fact that Ornn still does a lot of damage. You can't just eat everything for free. And a lot of Darius players fall into that fallacy where they'll walk up and be like, I win this matchup. It's fine. I got this. And then they just eat a bunch of extra damage. They die early. They lose the advantage that they do have. And all of a sudden, you've got a split pusher who won't win the side lane.
Right, and then that's not going to be a good time for that Darius, especially like you said, without that teleport as well. Can't get to those lanes nearly as quickly. Meanwhile, Ornn's passive just allowing Roy to just build up those items over time. And if the Darius is struggling now, it's not going to be great late game as well, because Ornn is one of those champions that do scale quite well himself and for the whole team here, as a lot of aggression going on in this mid lane I saw earlier too. Blocky Panda already up 10 CS over Socks the Thighs.
Yeah, I mean, that's even with that teleport being expended here. Socks the Thighs in a little bit of a tough position here, but in the end, bot lane is doing more than fine for the Reapers here. Picking up a small CS lead, but most importantly, the Jinx is not finding ways to get ahead. The Bard is not leaving lane. They are still playing that 2v2. They are still playing to the advantages that they've got. But right now, the game hasn't quite yet blown wide open, right? One solo kill in the top lane, definitely going to feel nice, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, both teams have a lot of scaling opportunities. Black Eyed Peas is here for the gank. However, Notorious is in the area as well. Can they get the Yasuo? No, Fembok is here as well with the Bard going to push away the side of Cute, and Flash going to be burned on that Amumu for Black Eyed Peas. Not able to apply the pressure. Really great timing here, but Blocky Panda is going to get chunked out quite a bit.
Yeah, Blocky Panda is just continually taking a lot of damage here. Does have the Shrine available, but right now Tortuga could be in a little bit of trouble.
We see the Reflect as well here, forcing the flash from Tortuga, but Tortuga is way too low, now stunned up as well, and Fembok is actually going to be the one to pick up the kill. A little bit unfortunate that it does go over to the Bard, but slowing down this Jinx is definitely what they want to see, and now might rotate over to this Drake as well. Without their ADC, this is going to be a much easier objective for them to grab. They even have mid-prio as well, as you can see Blocky Panda roaming over as well to try to secure this Drake. Meanwhile, fight going on this top side. Ludicrous going for maybe a little proxy here, knowing that this lane is getting a little bit harder as is going on.
Yeah, I mean, I said earlier that a lot of the times Darius players might end up overstepping. They might find themselves in a position where they ignore the Ornn damage. And speaking of which, there's a lot of damage going through. Feat of Warfare claimed, and just like that, Ludicrous, if you didn't learn your lesson in the first 3 minutes, when will you learn it?
Yeah, I mean, knowing that Flash is down as well, landing the Call of the Forge God was going to set up Roy for that kill. 2-0 on this Ornn already. A little bit behind on CS, though, committed Darius, so maybe not the worst position for Ludicrous to be in, but that is going to be Feast of Warfare secured. 3-0 so far for TPO. A fantastic start for them. And, you know, we talk about Jinx being a hyper carry, but TPO has a lot of late game potential as well, especially with the Ornn, with the ornaments as well. And, you know, all these Mel's does a ton of damage late game. If you could pick off the Jinx too, like pretty much the fight's almost over for the side of Cute. So they're not worried about this game extending late, but they would love to end it early if they can.
Absolutely. Now, one thing I will say, right? So the first 3 kills of the game are easily the most important because of those feats of warfare. After that point, it starts becoming a lot less valuable, right? There's so much of the value in those kills that just go to, hey, can you get gold? Can you get experience? Can you get this Jinx under tower? Oh my goodness.
Oh, wait! Tortuga gets the kill actually from the tower assist too. Does get excited, but not enough health and vision to go after Fembok for now. However, Fembok does get slowed, and the zap comes through. Fembok just going to portal through there with the magical journey to get away, but a little bit overstep there from Buck, giving Cute a little bit breathing room in that bot lane.
Yeah, Buck just stepped a little bit too far and ended up walking straight into those flame chompers. Your W will do wonders at blocking skill shots, but you will still not be able to get away from all of those, you know, damage and CC. But speaking of which, top lane,
Notorious TLP going to go and ult. Ludicrous does get the kill on Fembok before getting taken down, so a little bit of a little breathing room for Ludicrous, but still ends up dying to the Wukong. I think a valuable trade that TPO would happily take, support for top laner. Meanwhile, Roy on this orange just going to town on that top turret as well. So much cash now in his pockets here. Buck back over there trying to farm up as well, but let's take a look at that replay over there.
Yeah, once again, you can see Buck comes on in, tries to take down Tortuga, and absolutely gonna do it. It's not even close. And Tortuga had a little bit too much, you know, confidence after that last kill under the tower. But you got to remember, you're Jinx. You're still a late game carry. You still don't have those Yuntal finished quite yet. And Fembok gonna get chased down in the jungle once again.
A lot of action all over the place here in the river and in the mid lane. Soxathize is in trouble, does go down to the Wukong. Black Eyed Peas is in the middle of it, but frontlining for Tortuga is going to be valuable. No mana, though, left on the move, but we get the resets now for Tortuga's Jinx, and Jinx is on the run. You have to back off at this point. Buck is here for additional reinforcements, but a 1-for-1 trade mid laner for that jungler on the side of TPO. I don't know if there was actually a shutdown on that Wukong or not, but overall, slowing him down will be nice. no objective up at the moment, so not going to be able to take too much advantage of this, but going to get the Scuttle Crab for some vision as these top laners are continuing to skirmish here.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a position here where Orange should absolutely be able to get the trade wins, but I don't know about the full all-in here.
Avoids the Call of the Forge God knockup. The timing was pretty solid, and now Roy actually in a little bit of trouble here. Ludicrous has to play this carefully because you don't want to take a tower shot, and of course, Roy has plenty of CC as well. Fembok is in the area, and I think Roy might be trying to bait this Darius over here, but no, going to just clear up this and maybe just reset. Looks like Ludicrous doesn't want to test his skills under that turret just quite yet, especially being 1 and 3 right now. Sunfire Cape is finished up for this Ornn as well, and just items in general, seems like TPO is ahead in many respects. Blackfire Torch is finished on the side of Mel as well, but we do get the Yuntals now finished for Tortuga.
Yeah, and those Yuntals, Yuntal is so important for the Jinx here. That's really the one big item that Tortuga has been waiting for. And honestly, AD carries right now don't necessarily have the greatest of build variety. It's pretty much just, hey, pick up a Yuntal's Wild Arrows, pick up an IE, right? You know, pick up a Phantom Dancer somewhere down the line so you don't just get run down. But the reason why there's so little variety is because these champions are really good when they get those items. It's just the components leading up to Yuntals is the biggest thing that holds Yuntals back. So the fact that Tortuga did manage to get those 2 kills, did manage to get that influx of gold to be in that position is so good here. But here comes the squad.
Magical Journey may be positioned a little bit poorly, but no, not going to be the case as Soxathize is going to get out. The re-engage now from Black Eyed Peas on the Zamumu, but maybe thinks better of it. It is a 4v4. The members of TPO are fairly chunked as well. The Mega Death Rocket is going to land too, really chunking down this Wukong. They want positioning for this Drake. Let's see if they can get it or not here. And I don't know, TPO might just give this one up. Health bars are pretty low outside of this Mel, and they already have a Drake to their name, so maybe okay with just giving this up. He doesn't want to give up too much gold in the process. However, Buck looks like wants to do some poke damage. I don't know if this is going to be good or not too. They are slightly outnumbered. Does root up Poodle for the time being, but so do the traps. Stun up Buck. Fembok in trouble. Magical Journey's out of there. I think Buck just trying to be a little bit annoying here, but there's just no way you could get that seal. And now here comes the Curse of the Sad Mummy, and Buck is in trouble. Playing too much with fire here. Does go down. Tortuga going for a chase again. Doesn't have the Mega Super Death Rocket, so not going to be able to snipe down that Bard, but a pretty good trade, and maybe a little bit misstep from Buck there, trying to get a little cheeky with it, but Black Eyed Peas wants nothing to do with that.
Yeah, wants nothing to do with that. Speaking of which, Soxathize wants nothing to do with this mid lane fight. The flash forward, and Blocky Panda finally gets that solo kill that he's been searching for from Champ Select. That exhaust has just been an absolute calling card saying, I want to kill this mid laner. I don't care if it's 2v2, I don't care if it's 1v1, it is happening. And it finally ends up happening 14 minutes into the game. No exhaust needed, but the flash going to be expended. You are going to be able to get that pressure, but how much are you going to get off of this other than the gold, right? Soxathize might not be in the greatest of positions. You might be behind in terms of that early power spike, right, with that Bork versus the non-finish Malignants. But the big thing here is that tower didn't go down. There's no objectives to be gotten. It's a solid kill that makes you feel good, but doesn't mean so much in the end.
That's right. Going to be some skirmishing here. Fembok here to help out the Ornn. The knockup doesn't actually land though on Ludicrous. Here comes Call the Forge God. Does knock up Ludicrous in this position. Ludicrous just goes down instantly to the Wukong on the follow-up. Soxathize doesn't want to fight this 1v4. The rest of the teammates are in position though for this Rift Herald. Meanwhile, Blocky Panda getting a lot of value in that solo bot lane for the time being. Positioning's pretty good for TPO. They did expend a decent amount of resources though on that picking up Darius, so the Ornn ultimate not going to be up in time. Soxathize doesn't want to face check this Ornn. However, Ornn is pulled away, which means that there might be an opening for Cutes. They're trying to find it. The Chompers, they land onto the Mel. Oh, and then reflecting the bandage toss back over, pulls Buck over, and the Temper Fate does slow things down a bit. The skirmishes continue to go on. Tortuga is just railing on the backside here and does take out Wukong Rift Herald actually can go over to Q. I thought that looked really good for TPO to start, but just maybe a little bit too split, and Mel being picked off it means that a lot of their damage was missing.
Yeah, it just was so much of that damage. But speaking of which, so much damage coming in from the Yasuo. Ludicrous, on the other hand, not having any of it, says, all right, watch what happens when I play against a side laner that's not Ornn, that doesn't have well over 100 armor at this stage in the game. And Ludicrous saying, hey, this Darius pick was something that I wanted. This is something that I needed to make work, and it is going to be a problem. You have to commit someone other than the Yasuo. You have to commit the Ornn, really, to make sure that the Darius is taken out on that side lane, to make sure the Darius can't just take every tower that is available. But one thing to note after that last fight, first tower went down for the Reapers. That's feats.
That's right. They have feats. I mean, they have the ornaments coming down the road too. So their items are going to be pretty nasty. And if they could keep up the pressure, it could be a tough spot for Q to be in. But like you said, I mean, Darius might have died 4 times, but he's still Darius at the end of the day. And he'll take that 1v1 against Yasuo any day of the week. You know, Blocky Panda is pretty far ahead on the Yasuo as well. But level 12s across the board, both with items finished, is going to favor Ludicrous in that specific matchup. Meanwhile, there's a lot of gold going over to Tortuga. I mean, grabbing a turret, having 3 kills, slightly ahead on CS compared to Mel as well. So Tortuga, as long as Tortuga can stay alive in these fights, and I think as long as Q plays around Tortuga, we should be in a good spot here. As Tortuga trying to land some of those chompers again. Pretty good on landing those chompers. Yeah, I think Buck has to be really careful about the rebuttal usage there, because we saw that not play out so well in that fight at Rift Herald. The bandage toss pulling Buck towards the team. The enemy team was probably not what Buck was hoping for.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about that rebuttal, right? Is that a lot of the times Mel players will sit there and be like, hey, hit me with some big CC ability. I'm going to be able to just get rid of that, make sure that it has no real use. And it's super useful a lot of the time, and allows them to position in relatively fraudulent location. But speaking of which, Tortuga in a lot of trouble.
Black IPs flashing forward for the Curse of Sad Moment to stun up 2, but there's just not enough damage surrounding it. Look at how far Tortuga is. Super Mega Death Rocket does hit Roy, but that's not the target you want to hit, especially from that close range. This is a huge fight for TPO, and Q is just completely split off here in the river. This is for sure going to be a Drake going over to their side, unless Soxithize can pull off some miracle here. I don't think it's really worth it, Soxithize, but maybe feels a little bit differently about that. As we take a quick look at the replay on how this all went down, we can see the Drake being taken on that bottom right here as the TP comes over for Soxithize, but look at how split the rest of the team is, and great zoning from Roy and Buck, keeping Tortuga out of the fight, even reflecting the zap. The Temper Fate does slow things down a bit, but doesn't really help too much, as Ludicrous is going to go down as well in that fight. I completely missed that part, and Soxithize just has to run. A really great team fighting from TPO in that specific river.
Yeah, and that's another one of those moments where it's exactly what we were talking about during the draft, right? Reapers have a really good team composition for a 5v5 Deathball composition. Meanwhile, Conduit said, hey, well, what if we stick Ludicrous on Darius and we just make sure that Ornn never gets a chance to join? We'll play the 4v4, and as far as the 4v4 goes, it's pretty dang simple to play a 4v4 with a Mumu, right? You just go in, you hit R, you should be fine for the most part. If you do end up throwing an Ornn into the mix, though, there's so much that Black Eyed Peas cannot be dealing with on his lonesome. Poodle is not going to be able to peel away for her AD carry, and it's just so difficult to actually play that 5v5 as a whole. You need this Darius to lock this Ornn into the side lane. Anytime that is a big fight like that, like a 5v5, it's so unbelievably difficult to see what you can actually make of it. In the meantime, Ludicrous going in on the Ornn, but I still don't know how much damage you can actually put out.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Roy is tanking this damage no problem. It is not hard. There's so much armor there. Call of the Forge God is going to land No follow-up yet, but you could get knocked up here if you're not too careful here, as Ludacris is going to get knocked up. That's taking a ton of damage, and now you're going to probably have to run here. Apprehends Roy over to him, but Roy's going to just continue this 1v1 domination here, and I think that's a real question that Cute has to worry about down the road. How do you kill this Ornn, right? 3-0 so far, has a ton of armor, has some magic resist as well. Yeah, you have the Leandries on the Mumu, and probably going to be building one on that Ahri, but just not enough, you know, consistent health damage to take out this Ornn, and it could be problemsome for Cute down the road, as they have other issues to worry about for the time being, though. This is going to be Otacon, and TPO is going to try to grab this as soon as possible when they have this numbers advantage.
Yeah, and if you thought a 4v4 was difficult, if you thought a 5v5 was difficult, try a 4v5. And right now, Reaper's taking on that Otacon. A lot of shred, though.
Oh, and we get the Temper Fate to stop things just a little bit here, as you see the Yasuo Osen as well. Bug does take out Tortuga and takes out Black Eyed Peas as well. That's going to be a lot of damage gone for Cute here. They're still going to try to contest this. As you see, Ludacris is now here with Darius. Health bars are pretty low on the side of TPO. If you can make a hero play, that could be pretty nice, especially if you get some of those resets on the Noxian Guillotine. And, I mean, this is the thing with Otacon, right? Shreds your resistance as well, and it puts you in a tough position where sometimes the people that started is going to be great. Call the Forge God is going to knock up 2 members here, and it looks like TPO is going to secure that Otacon for the time being. Does Cute try to grab some kills here? I think is a little bit too risky here. Their opening is kind of gone after the Otacon was taken away. So really great execution from TPO, not losing a single member and grabbing Otacon on top of it. Oh my gosh, Super Death, Mega Death Rocket almost takes out Buck, but not quite.
Yeah, I mean, so much of this game, Tortugas just needed to get that one kill, needed that one opportunity to get excited. But the Curse of the Sad Mummy is not doing so much to the Reapers. The Reapers aren't the sad ones here. It's always Tortuga crying in the end, as the Wukong constantly dives in towards that backline. I'm gonna be real with you, as a Jinx, there's so little that you can do if the Wukong can get past your front line, right? Especially when there's a Yasuo on that team. It might as well be a Diana Yasuo combo, but even more annoying because Wukong turns invisible to start his engage, right? But the biggest thing about this game, right, is noting that, one, it's all been about that death ball composition. Every single time that the Reapers manage to get all 5 members together at once, it gets so difficult for Conduit to do anything in return. That is a 3-0 Ornn. This Ornn has not died a single time. This Ornn has managed to get the solo kills in the side lanes against, once again, a champion that is usually noted as a hard counter to the Ornn. But those early missteps, those early moments where Ludacris said, hey, I'm playing a counter, I win this, I don't have to be careful about the damage I'm taking in return, are biting him in the butt 24 minutes in, and this Darius sitting at 2-6 is not having a great time.
Yeah, that's right. As you can see, TPO going to position for this Drake fight here. I mean, does Q just let this one go is the real question. You know, surprisingly, their goal difference is it's less than 1k, which is actually quite surprising here. The snipe attempt from Tortuga is not going to land, so they're on soul point now for TPO. And it might not be so good there, but yeah, like you said, the orange is super big here, and see what they're going to do here. Looking like they're going to rotate over to the blue side jungle.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, right, the reason why the gold lead is so small is because there's been very few towers that have been taken for the side of the Reapers, right? And that makes a lot of sense, right? They don't really have much tower taking in their composition as a whole. Like, they have Yasuo really for hitting tower, they have Ornn being able to hit a demolish proc, but not so much in the tower taking overall. Now that the Baron has spawned, right? Now that we're 25 minutes in, the last 25 minutes have been the Reapers setting themselves up to be in a position where you have the damage to both win the fight at the Baron, but also take the Baron and turn that into, you know, a 5,000 gold lead, a 7,000 gold lead. But right now, it's still all about that side laning.
And Ludacris is in trouble again in this side lane. Down a level, down items, down a lot of things here as Roy just having the time of his life here and just knock up after knock up. However, Roy pretty low now too. Going to have to start respecting the Darius a little bit, trying to play around the cooldowns. Meanwhile, there's a fight midway. That's a very short magical journey, and the zap is going to come through. Fembot getting completely chunked now, and we have an excited Jinx. Going to reflect the zap for now, so not going to get caught up there. But it looks like somehow both top laners did not die in that fight. And Q trying to position maybe for a Baron. This will be interesting, but they are kind of behind, so they need to do something here. Actually, yeah, the gold differential is almost even now. They're going to try to face check this bush. Not going to be get caught here for now as the zap is going to land on Wukong. Roy is here. Roy TP'd in, trying to initiate on some of this fight. Call Forge God is down, though. Going to knock up Black Eyed Peas. For the time being, Black Eyed Peas is quite bulky in his own right, so going to take this damage no problem. Notori is pretty low at this point in time.
Yeah, TLP in a lot of trouble here. The flash forward as well.
Curse of Sad Mummy suns up 3. Roy gets charmed up. Roy finally goes down. The shutdown goes over to Black Eyed Peas. That's the pick they need there. 2 members down, top and jungle. This is going to be their Baron that going to try and contest. However, Blocky Panda, Buck are still pretty strong. Oh, they're going for a cheese play. In comes the zap here too. They pick off Fembot. Blocky Panda trying to do something. Buck goes down next, and that's going to be an ace for the side of TPO. That's everything Q needed here to set up a potential victory as they're going to grab up Baron, not losing a single member in that long extended fight.
And in the end, the bell tolls, but it's for the Reapers. Q going to be able to pick up that Baron, and with this relatively standard composition, they are going to be able to just run down these side lanes. They are going to be able to just run down these towers. They are going to be able to do so much with that. But let's look at how this started, right? It all started with a pick onto Fembot. And while Roy does TP into that backline, there's no call of the Forge God. There's no big power spike from that Ornn actually joining the fight, and this fight is so disjointed. Buck can't output the DPS that he needs in order to actually threaten Tortuga, and Tortuga just hitting for free again and again and again. Black Eyed Peas manages to land a crucial Curse of the Sad Mummy, and once again, it's all about the Death Bush. It's all about pushing that lead, but doing it in a safe way, and that gold lead is all but not ludicrous. Getting exhausted in this bot lane. I'm not sure if the Darius is able to get out, but
the last breath does come through, and Ludicrous actually picks up the kill, and somehow gets the double kill. Reinforcements come, but they came a little bit too late. Now Buck is in trouble, avoids the bandage toss for the time being here. Roy going to reinforce his bot lane, but picking off 2 more members again. And it's hard to say that the Darius is online, because usually Darius is online early, but it seems like Darius is online now. As you can see, the gold differential adding up almost a 6K now for the side of Q, and they're going to try to grab the turret to extend the lead even further. All TPO can do is just sit there and watch. They don't have any consistent auto damage. I mean, it's really just a Yasuo, and even that's, you know, it's melee range and Yasuo's down. You just have to try to land skill shots to clear out the waves, but just these Baron minions are not going down fast enough. Meanwhile, the poke from Q is going to be quite a big here. Golden Eclipse, though, going to bring people quite low. Fembot actually picking up another kill. And the Temper Fate, the timing was perfect there too, as we get the knockup right when the Jinx comes out of stasis. We get a shutdown as well. This game's not over yet, as they're looking for Poodle here. A short magical journey, but might be everything needed as the slow comes through. Emilio, though, has a lot. The bandage toss coming through as well. Curse of Sad Mummy. This damage on the move was actually kind of nuts here. Buck is in trouble now, but does get the shutdown on the Emilio for time being. Roy is here as well, and Notorious has respawned, joining back in the fight. Mel goes down, and Amumu's continued fight. The shutdown goes over to Roy, and all of a sudden, the game's back over into the side of TPO. Gold differential still favoring Cute, but this is going to be Soul.
Yeah, gold differential might mean one thing, but a Hextech Soul absolutely means another. Now, right now, one of the strongest boots in the game is Crimson Lucidity. We're not seeing that in this game whatsoever, but a reason why it's so strong is because it increases your move speed every single time that you manage to land a hit with an ability. Hextech Soul does the exact same thing, right? Every time that you get that auto, every time that you get that one ability fired off, if it lands onto the opponent, you're slowing them all. As far as I'm concerned, that is as good as a speed up there. But I gotta say, right, we go back to those fights, we go back to those positions, it's another moment where teams think, I'm so strong, I don't have to care about this damage that I'm taking right now. I don't have to care about the position that I'm in because I'm good for it, right? I'm putting out all the damage in the world. I've got some lifesteal. I should be able to heal it back up, right? We've got the Milio. We should be okay. But look at this team, right? That's Wukong's Cyclone. That's Yasuo's Last Breath. That's Bard's Tempered Fate. That's Call of the Forge Guard. How much of this are you actually going to be able to cleanse with a Milio ult? Right?
Oh.
And right now, Socks of Thighs goes golden, but I'm not sure how much more you can do with this.
Yeah, it does avoid the searing charge there too, but maybe you know, the arm guard used a little bit preemptively. Does get out in safety. But yeah, you're right. I mean, like, you know, how much can you really cleanse? And on top of that too, I mean, you got a Yasuo on the side of TPO. Like, look at how much knockups there are, right? Knockups from the Ornn, from the Cyclone of the Wukong, from your own knockups as well. It's so much potential to set up a Last Breath onto that Jinx if you get the knockup right in time. And we saw that in that defense of that bottom turrets on the side of TPO, you know, like if you get caught out in the wrong position and they just layer that CC, it's also over for you, right? So like, I think this game really could go either way depending on how the fights are executed, but having Soul over the side of TPO is going to make things a little bit trickier, even though Q is ahead on the gold.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, right, my biggest concern here is Reapers have still only taken one tower, right? That Baron is so unbelievably important. It's not like, I would venture to argue that Baron is easily the most important objective in this particular game because both of these teams have so much trouble with taking down these towers. If given the choice between Baron and Elder, I would take Baron 100 times out of 100 in this particular game because if any moment for these teams comes through to actually hit those towers, to actually start taking all of that sand and gold, the gold lead just swings directly back, right? It was a more than 5,000 gold lead earlier, and now it's shrunken to, you know, 4,000, slowly moving down to 3 as the Reapers are continuing to farm back up. And Conduit have done a phenomenal job of getting their Darius back into the game. So at the very least, you have that Ornn counter pick coming through for you. But how much can you really make out of it?
Fembot trying to clear out some of these wards for the time being. Magical Journey going to get him out. Oh my gosh, look at how much just like 2 autos did to that Bard. Could be problematic too if you don't take out this Jinx early enough. As you can see, 3.5 items completed on Ludicrous, just poking around a little bit. And, you know, even though there is a gold lead on the side of Q, I mean, you got to think about it, right? The ornaments do add a lot more gold value to these items as well. So it is a lot more deceptively that they're not actually as behind as the gold graph may show. Meanwhile, you can see both teams posturing for this Baron. Like you said, a lot of value on this Baron. Now they're even willing to clear out the control ward for the time being because misposition, it could be a bad time here. As Soxicide is going to be a brave one to clear out this control ward for the time being. But both teams just playing it a little bit on the safer side. You know, no TP on the Yasuo, so Blocky Panda has to be in this general area. However, you do have 2 TPs on both the Ornn and the Mel, so you could split a little bit and TP in for this fight. Both teams just kind of posturing, not wanting to make a mistake here. 17-17 is going to be the score for the time being. And yeah, I mean, you know, one wrong misstep and it could be bad for things here. Soxicide trying to farm up that Zhonya's here to get that another arm guard chance. Don't know if Soxicide will be able to do it. I think maybe has a goal now as going for that reset. But this might be the opening that TPO is looking for. They are clearing out the vision here, and there is that one final ward that is going to be cleared. Now vision is completely dark for the side of Q. They know that they are on the Baron now. They're going for the flank. Black Eyed Peas, though, pretty far behind, and that's their main engage.
Yeah, and Soxicize isn't here. Call of the Forge Guard going to be called.
Oh, it doesn't land. Tortuga does burn the flash, though, to try to preemptively dodge it. Not really necessary for time being, but Black Eye gets completely taken out, and Tortuga is in trouble as well, trying to run for it. Golden Cliffs could have been used, but not going to be, as it was on cooldown. Tortuga does somehow get out, and they take out the Wukong in the process. No jungler on the side of TPO, but they have way more health bars here, and maybe they don't get the Baron, but they are looking for this mid turret, as they have a decent amount of poke with that Mel. The apprehend does come through. Fembok in trouble, and there comes the Noxian Guillotine to end Fembok's life. They're pushing now. Yeah. They're trying to go for this mid turret here, but Roy is still in the area. Blocky Panda as well. Can the two of them make some magic happen is a real question, as Buck is going to reset. Buck is completely out of mana for the time being.
Yeah, and once again, it's exactly what we were talking about, right? This Baron is so unbelievably important. The Super Mega Death Rocket going over to Dragon, just making sure that nobody's taking it. It literally just spawned, y'all. Like, just chill out for a little bit. But right now, another fight being started up. No Wukong in the area. This Dragon is almost certainly going to go down, but what are you going to pay for it?
Oh, the Forge God does land on 2, and actually the Mumu goes down. It's going to be Buck on the Mel that secures Elder, and now so much damage coming through. 2 kills over to Buck already. Buck is quite low, though, for the time being, but that gives them Elder, and that means that they are confident in taking Baron. I mean, Mumu is down. Darius down for another 50 seconds as well. This is for sure going to be a Baron for the side of TPO, and you even got the Super Mega Death Rocket on cooldown from the side of Tortuga. Maybe regretting spending that at the time. Might come up in... Oh, wait, no. I think it is back up now. So there is a small chance of a snipe if you get the timing right. It's not going to be easy, though. In comes the Mega Death Rocket a little bit early, though, and Roy's going to tank that up as well. So Elder, Soul, and Baron on the side of TPO. That's not a good time for Cutes.
Not a great time for Conduit, but now with the Baron buff, with that big one-time buff that we've been waiting for Reapers to pick up, the moment that this Baron comes in, how many towers are going to be taken? One is certainly going to be going down in that mid lane. How many more does it turn into, though? Soxthai's looking on the corner to see what it is that he can do, but you are absolutely not going to be engaging into an Elder Baron team here. That's 2 towers down, and look at that gold lead start to grow.
Yep, and Soxthai's going to just limp out there a little bit, being slowed up here. I mean, you know, ideally you want to wait out these buffs, but the problem is if you wait too long, they're just going to end the game here. Clearing out the wave as fast as they can, though, is going to be the right call, as they could try to stall as much as possible. But another wave is incoming now, and all the ultimates are up. Everything's online for the side of TPO. They want to try to end the game, as Call the Fortune is going to come through. Does knock up. Oh, and here comes the last breath onto Black Eyed Peas. Tortuga in trouble, goes down. Curse of Sad Money's going to slow things down a bit, but not enough. Temper Fate comes through as well, as they're going to lace over and overlap the CC. Blocky Panda does go down, but has already put in so much work for his team there, and a lot of damage now missing. It's really up to Ari now to try to do as much as he can. Pudo's not going to be able to get too much damage on the support. Black Eyed Peas, though, is pretty strong. Has 4 items completed on the Zamumu. Definitely a threat that you can't take too cautiously here, as you can see that TPO going to just clean up this wave as much as possible. First Nexus turret goes down. Amumu in trouble and going to be taken down. Buck is on a rampage. Soxthais can't do anything too much here, as they're going to watch their Nexus being taken down. TPO takes game number 1 over Cutes.
TPO Reapers going to be able to close out game number 1 in exactly the fashion that we had anticipated once we started getting towards the middle of the game. So much of that standing gold, so much of those towers had just been staying there again and again, and that gold lead continued to grow for Cute. They made a valiant effort to come back, especially after their Darius had a rough start, but in the end, it only took 1 Baron take. It only took that 1 slip up, and that's the name of the game, right? You cannot find yourself slipping up in these crucial late game moments, because the game just turns in on itself immediately. In the end, it was what, 6 towers to 5 towers? But those 6 towers were really, really important.
Yeah, and look at the damage as well too. Buck putting the team on his back. I mean, it was really off of that Elder Seal, right? That really set things up. But really great performance all the way throughout TPO as well. Having a lot of role playing from everyone too. Some really solid temper phase, some good stuns, and of course Roy on that horn just taking up a lot of that damage. And you know, we said it right. If in the right team fight situation, it is not going to be a fun time to fight into TPO. Just a CC and everything, and a really great call to Forge Card landed from Roy in that final fight to knock up both the Amumu and I believe the Jinx to just set up the Yasuo. And, you know, Blocky Panda doing everything he could. He's like, you know what? If I take the Jinx down with me, I think my job is done. And that's exactly what was the case. The rest of the team just cleaned it out. So TPO is going to take that first game, though. But this is a best of 3. So we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back with game number 2.
Crazy, oh, do do, like do 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 do.
dance for us because I can't do any.
I don't got anything either.
That's okay. It's better. It's better than whatever I would have came up with.
Yeah, I got, you know, the singing and MOBA part of the Filipino culture. I did not get the dancing section.
Well, the singing part is quite impressive too. Because it seems like anyone. I've seen clips of people in the Philippines sing karaoke, and it looks like every one of them could be like a star. Okay. Oh, we're back. All right,
we're live.
anyway,
Live. Okay, cool.
Welcome back, everyone. From
League of Legends.
Yes. League of Legends and karaoke go well together. But Titan Esports, we are here back for week number 1 of Divinity League. We just saw TPO topple over Cute in that first game, but this is a best of 3, so we are back for game number 2, and maybe we'll have a game number 3 on our hands. I'm Caleb Peng. I'm joined with Anti. How are you feeling after that first game?
I am doing pretty well here. I mean, like, that was a jam-packed first game with so much fighting, so many solo kills, so many crazy plays back to back. And I'm honestly interested to see what we get in game number 2. Are these teams going to double down on that aggression, or are they going to start playing to not lose? So now I gotta say, it might be our very first stream, it might be our very first game, it might be our very first series of the season, but don't forget, you have to play to win. You cannot play to not lose. These are two completely different things. And once again, we're going to be getting the same teams on the same side. It's still going to be the Reapers on the blue side and Conduit on the red side. It is Fearless Draft. So this isn't like the entire game plan is going to be exactly the same. We're no longer be seeing the Wukong pickup on blue 1. Jax still has not seen the picks or bans whatsoever. So honestly, if it didn't happen in game 1, I'm expecting it to not happen at all. With Yasuo off the table, it could mean that they pinch that mid lane pool even more. So we might be seeing the R3 mid lane pick once again for the side of Conduit. But there's just so much that we're going to have to wait and see happen. And this first pick is really going to set the tone for this draft.
That's right. I think these are the same exact 6 bans to kick things off too. So a lot of respect given over to Tortuga's Twitch, but also Poodles is Lulu. We get the first pick, J4, Jarvan, the 4th. And I think it's a pretty strong pick, a very strong jungler as well. And, you know, we did, I think the Tours had a slightly quieter game, but we do get the Jax now. Okay, we get the Jax picked up rather than the side of Cutes. And they do have red side, so they have counter picks available as well. And we get the Smolder pickup. So definitely going to play the long game on the side of Cute, going for some extra scaling. How do you match the scaling is the real question on TPO side. Do we pick up a Senna, or do you just say, you know what, let's just try to win the early game? Oh, we get the Ziggs.
Yes. Okay. So this is exactly the thing that I was going to say, right? In that last game, we had the Yasuo and the Wukong. So we had a notorious TLP on that go button, on the ability to just go straight in and make something happen. This time around, it is the Jarvan. You got that Cataclysm, which guarantees the Mega Inferno Bomb. I will say, a lot less guaranteed against Smolder, but at the very least, does make things a very good go button, especially against champions like Zyra. Now, Thresh will make sure that Ziggs can get out of those bot lane exchanges, per se, but you can still flex that Ziggs over to that mid lane. Now, one thing I will say, Jax as a counter pick to the Jarvan is very, very good as far as the early game is concerned, right? The early to mid game 2v2, Jax will absolutely stomp that man if he so much as looks at the Grandmaster of Arms. But as we continue through this, we do know that Yone and Zed are taken off the table, and it should mean that Yasuo is also gone because of Fearless. So I don't really know what Blocky Pan is going to have in store for us, but at the very least, I'm expecting Control Mage in that mid lane. Okay, there we go, the Vex.
Okay, not really much frontline for the side of Cute, which is interesting because usually you want a pretty beefy frontline for that Smolder, but we'll see how they round it out here as we get the Tristana pickup. All right.
Oh,
so, I mean, there's always a small chance of the Ziggs mid, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be a Tristana mid here for the side of TPO, especially to try to work around that Vex. Oh, and we get the Cassante pickup. So really rounding out the team. I mean, the team composition for TPO looks pretty strong. On the side of Q, it looks a little bit disjunctured a little bit, I gotta say, but we'll see. Oh, and it's going to be Karen pickup. Okay,
so that's a really interesting pickup here. I honestly don't hate it. One of the reasons why people like picking it into the Cassante is man goes all out, drops a bunch of his health. Garen says, all right, you're silenced, you're taking a bunch of damage, you're getting
you can run away.
That Demacian Justice. But one of the big things here is, while, as you mentioned, there isn't so much frontline on the side of Conduit, they do what they lack in frontline, they make up for in zoning, right? Vex existing as a champion means that people don't really want to be standing around here. Zyra able to set up all of those plants, able to set up, you know, that ultimate and make sure that it's very difficult for people to actually go in on her. And a big thing here is if Jarvan goes in with a Cataclysm, he has to be hitting priority targets. If he doesn't hit priority targets and his team is somehow trapped in that Cataclysm as well, we get the classic Jarvan is just sitting here with a box trying to help, right? And sometimes when you throw everyone into a box, it's not what you want, especially when you have AoE on AoE on AoE. But that seems to be the name of the game, AoE on AoE. On the side of the Reapers, they've got what I love to call the cash money composition. You just go straight on in, hit those towers, get as many plates as you can, and just burn those towers down as quickly as possible from bottom to top. Does not matter where it is, as long as you can get gold into someone.
Yep. Yeah, we're gonna have to see how the teams execute on this. I will say too, with that Ziggs Thresh bot lane, I don't think you'll probably take barrier on Tortuga's Smolder. So let's see if he goes on a greedier route, maybe gets teleport, or maybe just for the cleanse, right? Which I think will be pretty good with all the potential CC on the side of TPO to keep himself safe and yeah, see how long he can survive until he gets those stacks fully stacked up. But it is going to be the Ziggs bot lane, not a Ziggs mid, which would make the most sense into the specific compositions. It's going to be a little bit harder, I think, for Tortuga to stack in the lane, but overall, a lot of poke with that Zyra and Smolder combination, so should be able to match the range on that Ziggs pretty well. But here we go. Game number 2 here. This is a, regardless of what the graphics says, this is a best of 3, and match point for TPO here. Q's going to have to make the adjustments needed to go to that faded game number 3.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I will also say here, unfortunate, Black Eyed Peas is a little bit late on that rotation as the Jack's not going to be getting punished for it whatsoever, though. It's a lot of these teams just walking up and saying, like, you know what? I already expect them to be in this position. We're going to be fine. Nothing too crazy. But what I will say, right, is Buck once again is on that mage in that bot lane. In the meantime, Blocky Panda once again on that DPS AD mid laner. And this seems to not only be the trend for the series, it could be a trend for this team as a whole. I would love to see if they have the ability to play, you know, more quote unquote standard compositions, but I do love the fact that they are going with triple AD top side and a magic damage bot side. So it's going to be lots and lots of focus on buying up that armor and having it not matter when Ziggs drops a bomb on your head.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of damage on both sides of the field. So we're going to have to see how the teams play it out. But overall, looking at the team compositions, which do you favor looking at it from like a holistic standpoint?
I think that in the early to mid game, it is very, very easily a Reaper's game to take, right? If you can, until 14 minutes, a Reaper have a team composition that by no means should be losing any of these early fights, should be losing any of these early trades. But right now, we're seeing these trades go really, really well for Soxathize. But, oh.
Wait, very aggressive jump in from Blocky Panda there. bomb is going to detonate, but Blocky Panda taking a slightly worse of the trade here. The flash forward from Soxathize and the counter flash for Blocky Panda to get away to safety here. Honestly, the Electrocute proc really set Soxathize up there. I'm actually pretty surprised that Blocky Panda even went for that aggressive trade, but pretty confident in his own skills there on Tristana, is able to chunk Soxathize a bit, but a little bit behind on that trade, especially because you start with 2 potions with the Dorn's Ring, right, on the side of Soxathize, so has a little bit more health to maintain as we see an early back from Blocky Panda.
Yeah, and as I was saying, right, these early game trades should absolutely be going into the favor of Reaper. On the other hand, if Conduit can get this game to go to, 30, 40 minutes, it becomes very, very difficult to actually play into a team composition that demands so much space, that demands so much respect at the beginning of every team fight. If Conduit can get to these objectives early on and force Reapers to walk in towards them, it becomes so much more difficult. That being said, with the Ziggs and Tristana, it doesn't matter how late the game goes, it only really takes one team fight.
That's right. I mean, and looking at these teams too, 3 TPs on both sides, respectively, of these teams. So there's going to be a lot more rotations this game than maybe in the last game. A lot more mobility for these fights here too. As you can see, Tortuga knowing that, barrier probably not needed against the Ziggs, goes for the teleport to kind of match any potential roams there from the Ziggs. But yeah, going to be a pretty high tempo game, I think.
Yeah, and speaking of tempo, one thing to note is that Black Eyed Peas gets that recall off first, and most importantly, both sides of Reaper's jungle were warded, so they know exactly where this Jarvan is. They know exactly what's going on. They know that Scuttlecrab was already taken. They know that Blocky Panda is able to get these quick trades off in the mid lane, but can you get more with TLP in the corner?
It doesn't look like it for the time being. Ludicrous, a little bit more health advantage, but Roy has a lot of minions surrounding him and has the level advantage over the Garen. Garen could get out to safety pretty quickly as Fembot gets slightly rooted for a second. A lot of trades going over back and forth on this bottom side here. The double range is going to be more favorable for the bot lane of Cute, as we see these 2 top laners going to just, skirmish a little bit back and forth for a time being. Roy going to enjoy some of these grass stacks as he's going to try to get beefier here. But the Garen putting up a decent amount of fight here in the middle of the minions. No problem though, as Roy is going to land one of those Qs, and Ludicrous just charging forward here. Does go for the silence, and Roy out of mana. Going to have to back off for the time being.
We're going to be seeing recalls from the both of them. No ignites in this game. That is 3 teleports on both sides. The only ignites visible are on the supports, but we're not going to be getting much of that going on just yet. As we see, it's just poke on poke, right? There's not really anything too crazy going on between these two. Honestly, I would have loved to see some Unsealed Spellbook. I know it did get nerfed, but it's just a fun thing to watch. But either way, right, Black Eyed Peas, once again, getting ahead with this Shaxx, able to slowly pick up more and more gold, able to get into a position where it becomes very, very difficult to 2v2 against this Jax. And with the tracking on TLP here, it could be very difficult to see what this does turn into. Jarvan going to be able to sneak right out from under their noses, though. And just like that, the trade goes completely even, nothing too crazy.
Yeah, the longer this game goes on for, obviously going to be good for Cute, especially with that Smolder. There's a lot of pushing power, though, on the side of TPO with that Tristana, with that Ziggs. And if they can get these turrets down early, that could help them end the game before the Smolder gets too out of control here. But meanwhile, Cute doing a really good job of hanging against the side of TPO, and definitely Ludicrous on this Garen. Putting some work into Roy, and a slightly different story compared to the first game with that Darius versus Ornn.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I will note here, right? Ludicrous is playing this matchup very, very well, right? You're not going overly crazy. Oh my god.
the all out, but the Demacian Justice was just enough damage plus a few autos for Ludicrous to pick out the first blood. Still pretty close there too, as Roy, unfortunately, not enough damage on that all out to take out Ludicrous's Garen. So things switching up a bit here as the skirmish is going down on this bot side. Tortuga is ignited, so going to have to back off for the time being. Oh, very chunked actually at this point. You have to be careful here. Forget about any potential hooks, but also just the Ziggs damage is definitely going to add up here. Definitely not what I expected with this double range bot lane. But Buck and Fembok playing it really well here to put on a lot of pressure against Tortuga's Smolder.
Yeah, but most importantly, Tortuga hitting level 6 here means that there's no shot that they have at diving this Smolder. It's just going to be more and more stacks being put down here. In the meantime, Success Thighs going to continue to build up that lead in that mid lane. Blocking Panda not having a great time with this Tristana just yet. This flash is going to be big.
And the ultimate is still up now, going to be used. Mom does take out Fembok, and now Buck, without any mana, has to back off for the time being. A good aggressive play from TPO, but a better response from Q. Meanwhile, Q also with Soxidice taking out the 1v1 against Blocky Panda. Everything going over the way of Q for now. And you can see the fight continuing on. Ludicrous in trouble, but silences the J4, stays alive for seconds, flashes away, and TPO does get taken out here. It's going to be Notorious that does die to Black Eyed Peas, but does take out Ludicrous. So a little bit of a positive for TPO, but still a 1-for-1 trade. Gives Roy a little bit of breathing room, though, for the time being, as it looks like the Jax is now working on those grubs. So we see a quick replay of how this top lane shook out.
Yeah, and once again, it's all about the 2v2 here. Both junglers just ditch their laner and just go straight for the other one. But Black Eyed Peas not able to join because of that Cataclysm. The flash committed as well, but that is a kill over to Black Eyed Peas, which guarantees the grub take. And just like that, it becomes so much more difficult for the side of TPO Reapers. I mean, as we noted before, it is a best of 3 game number 2, and I gotta say, Conduit looking much, much better this game. They're playing to their win conditions. They understand what it is that they need to do in order to get ahead, and it feels like it's the Reapers this time who are playing the ego. They're playing to try to push a little bit harder, but it loses them out so much more than it was in that last game. This time, Ludicrous might be on a counter pick yet again, but is playing it much more effectively, right? You know, just holding that Demacian Justice until the all-out's committed, just holding on to those trades until the Cassante eventually runs out of mana, but most importantly, able to hold on to these CS leads. Look at the tab menu, right? You know, look at all of that CS just continually being picked up across the map. The only one behind is a 1 CS difference for Tortuga, but in the end, it's just looking all great stuff for Conduit.
Yeah, Ludicrous putting on even more damage here. Roy just barely surviving the Demacian Justice for now, but I think he's still in trouble here. Ludicrous trying to find an angle, waiting for the cooldowns to come back up here as the Unstoppable comes through, but the silence is going to, and the spinning blades. Ludicrous picks up another kill here, and things are completely flipped it on the script for this top lane, but for the mid lane as well. Look at the CS difference, 30 CS difference, and a kill onto the side of Soxidice. Again, completely different story from that first game. So we see the fight going on here too. Black Eyed Peas going to try to do some damage here. Mom being called, doesn't really hit anyone for the time being. Notorious does go down. It's going to be Tortuga that picks up the kill, and here comes the best ultimate as well as Fembok is running for his life. Black Eyed Peas is dancing with fire there as does get taken out here from the snipe from the Ziggs on the other side. Meanwhile, Ludicrous picks up the first turret. Overall, things looking still very good for Cutes, but Black Eyed Peas maybe overextending a little bit, giving a little bit of gold back over to Buck on the Ziggs. But like you said, the fight's still continuing here as we're going to push back Tortuga for the time being. Buck getting chunked a ton and giving a lot of stacks over towards Tortuga as well. But like you said, too, I think, like, you know, TPO feels the pressure, right? They know there's a ticking time bomb that's Smolder on the side of Q, and they know that Tortuga has the capabilities to carry hard with that champion if Smolder gets scaled. So they're forcing a lot of these fights, but because they haven't been winning the early game, they're just losing more and more fights now, and it's starting to snowball a little bit out of control.
Yeah, I mean, I'd honestly say that it's starting to snowball a lot out of control. It's been so difficult for the Reapers to actually get anything done. I mean, we're 12 minutes into the game. I don't think that they've even taken a single plate on a team composition that's designed to take plates out the wazoo. I mean, we call this the cash money composition for a reason. It's all about just doing as much damage to these towers as quickly as possible early on into the game and saying, yeah, if we have to get to late game, we might be in trouble, but at the very least, we could just knock down these towers early and always play with a lead. But now when you're playing with a 3k gold deficit, it becomes so much more difficult. Soxatai is now looking at TLP in the jungle. Ultimate almost coming up.
DLP caught in a tough spot here as the Vex ultimate comes through, buffering it a little bit, but does get silenced, and Ludicrous is just chopping down Notorious TLP. Soxatai is going to be the one to pick up the kill. Doesn't really matter. Both are super fed, and they're getting a little bit more fed at this point in time. Roy caught in a slightly tough position here as you see the Vex ultimate connect as well, stunning up both for a time. Roy trying to get out. Benbach in the area to provide some support. Roy does survive for the time being, but still quite behind in this game against both the Garen. Garen already an item completed. Going to be the first one here too. And, you know, Ludicrous really finding some redemption from game number 1 so far here. Tortuga going for the aggressive fight against Buck, but Buck should not be messed with here. Does go and sidestep, but here goes a Mega Inferno Bomb and flashing over. Black Eyed Peas is going to be the one to pick up Buck. So almost things going the way of Buck, but great execution and response from Black Eyed Peas to provide that support for Tortuga, and Tortuga even surviving there as well. Insult to injury for Buck.
Yeah, and not only did that happen, Tortuga survives without burning the ultimate. Mom is still on call here, and the dragon comes through for Q once again.
Jax goes down to the Thresh. The fight is continuing. The Cataclysm comes down, but Tortuga is doing so much damage. You're stuck in here with me, J4, not the other way around, as Fenbach running for his life, and Blocky Panda full health, but can't really do much as you see a full health level 11 Garen running at you. 4 members here trying to take this turret as well. Double kill going over to the side of the Garen. Tortuga actually get chunked quite a bit. The flash forward from Black Panda and ults the Smolder away. Picks up a shutdown. Definitely something they need to help defend this turret and also slow down that Smolder for the time being. And then jumping away is Blocking Panda. So avoiding dying to socks, to thighs. This looks like the turret will probably go down soon though, or they're going to take a decent health chunk off of it. But the teleport back from Buck does help, or I don't know if Buck even teleport back, but he's already at full health here too, so maybe just didn't take too much damage earlier. However, yeah, not going to be the turret be taken over, so definitely a good shutdown for Blocky Panda, who was quite behind, still a bit behind, but that extra shutdown gold is going to help the Tristana out quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, extra shutdown gold's definitely going to be feeling good here, but once again, we got over to that 14 minutes. We did not get a single tower plate on the side of the Reapers, which is so unbelievably difficult. And now you only have one thing to look forward to, which is the fact that you got Tristana and Ziggs on the same team. You say, all right, well, you know what? Early game didn't go so hot for us. Late game, as long as we can get a pick, it should be fine, because it only takes one team fight, one win in order to take the entire Nexus. We saw it in that last game, where it's a wait until that Baron spawned. This game, it doesn't even need to be a Baron moment. It just needs to be one explosive charge and one satchel charge. It's so different from the way how a lot of teams might be approaching the game right now. But you have to always think about that win condition.
Definitely. As you see, some vision going to be cleared up here. Rift Herald is spawned up. Looks like TPO wants to potentially make a play here. As we see, Roy going to be laning against the Vex for a time being. Oh, and the engage starts coming through from Notorious, doing some chip damage onto the side of the Jax, but Black Eyed Peas are going to get out there totally fine for now. I don't think they want to give up this objective quite yet, but Feats of Strength have gone over to the side of Cute. And that's going to be pretty good for especially a scaling comp. Yeah, they're playing very well.
one thing to note here, right? Black Eyed Peas is only one jungle snack away, and there we go. That's the upgraded smite. Notorious TOP still does not have the upgraded smite. If they do decide to fight for this Herald, there's the extra teleport on the side of Soxathize. There's the extra smite damage on the side of Black Eyed Peas. And I gotta say, you know, armchair quarterbacks always get to see the entire field, but right now, if you're Conduit, you have a phenomenal window to go for this Herald.
Yeah, it looks like they're not for the time being. Maybe just trying to slow play it a bit. But I do agree with you. I think it's great timing for them to go for this, as you see resets coming over from the J4 on the side of TPO. And yeah, I mean, I think both teams just don't really want to make too many mistakes. I mean, Cute's very content on just letting Tortuga farm as much as possible, and you know, they know that these leads are just continue to grow. I mean, look at Ludicrous on this Garen. It's surprising though, Roy doing a good job of keeping up with levels, so not really too far behind there, but a full item behind the Garen already, and that's pretty scary. And it's kind of hard to track down this Garen, right? Like, how do you really kill this Garen? Because he's so mobile, and you know, you don't have a lot of consistent damage. Zig's got to land some skill shots. Tristan doesn't really want to jump into a Garen as well. As you see, it looks like it's going to be TPO starting the Rift Herald, and it's kind of not contested. This Jax is pretty far away. We see a TP coming out as well from the Tristana. They just want to make sure they get it. Oh my God, it's stolen from the Smolder. What the heck are we looking at? Just a Chu coming out, and that's huge now for Cutes as they're going to continue their killing sprees. J4 goes down. You can see the Shadow Surge locking in onto Blocking Panda. That's going to be a double kill. That's going to be a triple kill for Soxathize. Soxathize not done yet, as this is looking like it's going to be a team wipe soon. The triple kill does come over, going for the Quadra, and the flash forward from Soxathize not going to get it. Almost an ace, but it's going to be Fenbach, the lone support that gets out of it. What a massive steal from Tortuga here.
Nope, Fenbach still going to be going down. Soxathize with that Q over the wall. And in the end, massive steal for Tortuga. Like, that's the thing, right? It didn't have to happen. But the fact that it did means that, I'm going to say it, Caleb, we're a little bit early into the game. I'm ready to call it. I think Game 3 is absolutely happening. And once again, there is always that win condition of just win one team fight. That's all that really matters. But in the end, look at this fight one more time. The W right over the wall, just barely managing to steal it. I'm not sure if TLP, you know, thought that he still had that upgraded smite, but it was still one cookie off, just one jungle snack. But in the end, resets coming on through, the ultis into that backline again and again and again. Fenbach not even safe from this Vex. Meanwhile, the rest of the team gets to hit the Cassante for absolutely forever. Flash forward with the Q, not going to be able to do it, but Little Grub gives you a little bit of vision, get that Q over the wall, and if you're caught in the store, you'll be caught in the gray screen. But once again, game number 2 might as well get called at this point, because look at how much better Conduit's playing in this game.
Yeah, we get another solo kill going over to Ludicrous. 5-1-5 against an 0-5 Cassante. They get a turret as well. Everything going over to the favor of Q. Soxathize might be in a little bit of trouble though. There's a big shutdown on Soxathize. Can Soxathize get out here?
Oh, there it is.
Into the Rift Herald and go to taxi out of there. Oh wait, going for some additional knockups. Here comes the reinforcements here, and Soxathize back out. But at this point in time too, Notorious is in trouble. Black Eyed Peas is going to take out Notorious, who's one more auto. Fenbach just trying to stall at this point. And no, Soxathize is not going down. Goes for the smooth plays, and they're going to be rewarded with an Otacon. There's just no contestants if you're the side of TPO. And I gotta say, I mean, Smolder not even at 225, but I think this game is pretty much over.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at this point, right, you're sitting here thinking to yourself, what in the world do you do for the next game, right? You know, what are you going to try for? Are you going to change up the drafting strategy, right? So Conduit did not change up the drafting strategy. The one thing that they had going for them in this game is it's fearless, right? Game 1, the Yasuo does come through, and it's Yasuo Wukong, and it's so much more difficult to deal with as an AD carry. Meanwhile, game number 2, they say, all right, Ludicrous, game number 1, that was tough. I wasn't a huge fan of the way how you played the Darius that time, but that doesn't mean that we don't believe in you. Here, you still get the counter pick, you still have the chance to play it, and Ludicrous decided, all right, I'm gonna take a deep breath, I'm gonna reset my mental, and I'm going to play it out, and this Ziggs is going to be dead.
Oh, Buck somehow getting out just with a sliver of health, but here comes Mom, and Buck just avoiding Mom as well. Things are still not looking good though, as Ziggs took a huge chunk of hits and just barely gets out.
Yeah, I mean, Poodle just gonna yoink that cannon away from Tortuga. I played too much AD carry within the past few months to not get tilted off that, but in the end, Notorious just going to burn the flag and drag for the crab. I mean, you take what wins you can get, but more kills over to Smolder is not a position you really want to be in.
No, definitely not here too. As you can see, Blocky Panda in some trouble as well. Flashes out, but the Demacian Justice is going to secure the kill. Tortuga pretty low for the time being, but not enough damage to really take out Tortuga. Buck just too far back to do much, and you know, as long as you avoid some of the skill shots, you're going to be a-okay. Decides to hold on to the Mega Inferno Bomb for the time being. And you can see, I mean, even Roy, Cassante versus Vex, typically not a situation you want to be in this close proximity with Cassante. And here comes the all out, but I think Sox to Thighs is a little bit fed and can get out just okay. Avoid some of this damage. Roy tower diving now. I don't know if this is the right play or not. You're taking a few tower shots. Sox to Thighs doing a good job avoiding some of this damage, but here comes Tortuga. Smolder coming in as well, and Sox to Thighs is going to pick up the kill with the assist going over to Tortuga. Can we get a stack check at some point here? Because I'm very curious to see how close Tortuga is to the 225, but I think might almost be there, if not already hit it.
I'm gonna say 211, right? I'm just gonna take a random guess here.
Okay, I'm gonna do a little Price is Right on you and say 212.
Oh shoot, oh shoot. Wait. Tortuga, check him now. Check him now.
Yeah, the longer it goes on, the better it is.
Oh, well, now.
Yeah.
Oh no.
But you can see
but
getting a lot of stacks here, and things are not slowing down for the side of Q. I mean, look at the gold differential. 12k gold difference, 2 Drakes, 3 Grubs, the Rift Carry, every single objective going over. And Buck now in trouble as you see Mom coming through, and Mom's going to be the thing that takes out Buck. Sox to Thighs taking out Fembach as well. So much gold on these characters. Look at the shutdown gold on the side of Cutes. Everyone with a massive shutdown. I mean, I don't even know how you take out their team. I mean, I was saying they don't have a strong front line, but when you're this far ahead, you don't need a front line, as Blocky Panda eat another Demacian Justice, just kind of dying off respawn.
Does Ludicrous have, like, Axiom Arcanist or something? Like, that ult did so much damage. Oh my goodness. But in the end, absolutely powerful on this Garen. You've already got 3 items that... Oh my god, I mean,
as well, it's
what can you even say?
4 level differential over the Cassante with 3 items ahead.
Oh my god,
at 185. Okay, you know, for what it's worth, it's good that Cute's ahead this far, because maybe not the fastest stacking on the side of Tortuga, but Tortuga had a fantastic Rift Herald Seal, and you know, maybe doesn't need the execute damage to do enough here, as closing in on 3 items on this Smolder, about to finish this IE soon.
Okay, honestly, when you think about it, okay, I mean, you know, look away from the Ziggs dying in the mid lane, but even Mom gonna be called over. We're getting a little bit silly over here right now, as Tortuga is going to be jumped on by TLP, but it's still TLP being forced to flash out, as in the end, this is the one window they seem to be given.
Blocky Panda went in for the engage, but just not enough damage to follow up. I mean, you really don't have any other damage, as Ziggs has to recall, and no one else can really even dish out any damage on your team for the time being. I like this call from Cute. They know that they're ahead. They're going to just grab up this Baron as fast as they can. I don't think there's even vision on this on the side of TPO, and they're probably not even suspecting it now that you see Soxaside just toying around with Roy in this mid lane, but they have plenty of damage. I mean, just the spinning Garen is shredding through the health bar of that Baron, and I mean, this is Okay, they have every single objective on their belt. They have every turret still
Whoa,
up
whoa,
as
whoa, whoa,
well.
whoa, whoa.
And Ludicrous getting a little crazy here with Tristana, but sees Fembot coming. So, gets caught here. Is this the time to take out the Garen? Flash forward. No, another Demacia Justice. And I mean, it's a tough game for Blocky Panda, right? Just like eating Garen ult after Garen ult whenever in those positions. And what can Fembot do as a Thresh?
Yeah, I'm gonna be so real with you. Usually in those situations, I feel, you know, some sympathy, some empathy really for the AD carry in those positions, because it's like, oh man, you know, I'm getting flashed on by a big bruiser. Like, what can I even do to deal with this? But that started because Blocky Panda jumped into the 8-1, now 8-1 Garen. Like, what exactly did you think was going to happen?
Well, almost full build as well too, and level 18 as the Shadow Surge is going to connect. Fembot goes down, and you see the continued chase, another Shadow Surge going through. Mom gets called as well as Notorious goes down yet again. A kill going over the side of Ludicrous, and this game is pretty much a wrap here as we see the uber boss Garen just chunking away at these objectives, at these buildings here. Roy is going to go all out against Jax. Jax probably the only person that's slightly killable on the side of Cute, but emphasis on the slightly as the Mega Inferno Bomb is going to connect barely onto Poodle. The stasis is going to be gone through. Oh, Vex does go down though, and the shutdown does go over to Buck. Definitely who you want the gold on. However, still fairly behind. The health bars are pretty low though. Tortuga and Ludicrous is what you have to watch out for, as that's most of their damage. We get the shutdown on from the Jax as well. So Black Eyed Peas goes down. Maybe there's a chance here for defense as Tortuga is not fully stacked up, but Black Panda is quite low and Tortuga does get the kill. Ludicrous about to go down though as a Cataclysm comes through and the
oh my god,
Thresh, but not enough as Tortuga is cleaning up and Ludicrous pretty healthy. There's so many minions here, and you really just have the Thresh and the Ziggs to slow things down here. But Tortuga going to think better of it and going to go for that recall. I think is already fully stacked at this point too. I think I saw the XQ come through as we double TPs coming out onto this bot lane. Every inhibitor down at this point in time. Wait, how's this turret still up? But the bottom inhibitor, oh, the bottom inhibitor is still there. Sorry, I was a little lost in the sauce there, as now the inhibitors are down. Only one turret remaining, and the health bars, the pockets are just way too heavy on the side of Q. However, Ludicrous getting caught quite a bit, taking multiple tower shots.
Oh, Lord.
Shadow Surge comes through, and Soxitize is here. The damage is just too much. Mega Inferno Bomb takes out Soxitize, but not much else they can do as the Nexus is going to fall. You can see Ludicrous going for one last kill. Not going to get it, but had a fantastic game. 34-7. We are headed to a game number 3. Cute taking the game over TPO.
Yeah, I mean, towards the end of that game, Cute just kept on going in again and again, trying to keep me out of a job at this point. But right now, what they have done is taken Reapers out of a job in game number 2, because at a certain point, they were so far behind, they couldn't do anything but watch and hope to God that Conduit Cyber Cuties messed up at some point. But in the end, it's just kill after kill after kill after kill, and the counter picking composition finally does come through for Cute. Game number 3 on the board. We're gonna have to see how things go, but don't go anywhere, because if game number 1 and game number 2 are indicative of anything, is that we have only bangers on for tonight.
That's right. We'll see you in a bit. Welcome back, everyone, to Titan Esports. We're here on week number 1 of Divinity League, and we're headed to game number 3 between TPO and Cuties Conduit. And I'm Caleb Peng. I'm joined with Anti, and we have ourselves a very exciting game number 3. It was pretty one-sided in that last game. First game on the closer end, but big lane gaps in game number 2. And we are headed to that faded game number 3 between these two teams. How you feeling?
Honestly, we're in it for the long haul, right? I mean, already going to game number 3. The fact we're starting the season off with a game 3 banger only bodes well for the season as we continue onwards. But I will say, right, game number 2 was a hands gap, right? So much of it, you could say here, like I saw some people saying here and there, oh, well, you know, I don't know what the Reaper comp's supposed to do. Well, it's supposed to win early. Like that's actually really important. The Reaper comp is supposed to win early. You are supposed to be able to get those tower plates. They did not get a single tower plate, and that's literally what the comp's win condition is. And if you can't get that, you're gonna be in a world of hurt there. I mean, as you mentioned earlier, right, the Tristana mid was something that we anticipated. I wasn't too fond of it, right? It's very easy to go with results-based thinking, but at the very least, right, the Vex being picked into the Tristana makes it much more difficult for Tristana to actually make use of the 1v1 prowess that she has and get those tower plates. In the meantime, Ziggs can still clear into Vex just fine. Also on that top side, Cassante versus Garen, another counter pick. We have lane swaps that are available to these teams, but they clearly don't have them practiced because these are the situations where you do bring them out, right? If you remember all the way back in season 5 when people were doing double jungling so that way they could do those crazy lane swaps, the reason why it became a thing and to begin with is because they wanted to avoid these bad matchups. And when you have these bad matchups, I understand that there's the whole, oh, well, we can't have 2 people in the top lane before a certain time or they'll get like, you know, all the golden experience anyway. You don't need to do that. Watch some pro play. Check out what HLE's been doing, right? But in the end, it turns out to be more or less a hands diff. The draft diff could be mentioned, but I think that there's a lot of things that you can do to remedy that. But if your opponents are simply better than you in the hands department, your only real choice is get better.
Yeah, that's right. Well, let's see if TPO is able to get better in this game number 3. We're heading into the draft here, and as a reminder, this is a fearless format, so all those grayed out champions at the bottom are not eligible for this game. So we're going to see some bans coming out, and it looks like we do have a side swap. So TPO has elected to be on the red side, so they now have the counter pick that of their choosing to close it out. As we see, I believe it's going to be the same bans, probably a Lulu, Aurelia. My memory's fading a little bit here. The Akshan. So some of the same bans we've been seeing. We'll see though. I gotta say, Poodle must have a pretty scary Lulu if we're getting a Lulu ban every time, you know? Not usually something you see as a priority ban, but there must be something to Poodle's Lulu that has TPO shaking here.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, right? If you take a look at some of the unofficial content that we've had coming into the split, Poodle was listed as not Tristana, a Lulu merchant. You know, Giga Chad Lulu, I think, was the descriptor. As it also said that she's got 15 master's degrees, but no hose. I don't really know what's going on there, but regardless, we got a very interesting blue side Sivir on first pick, going to be dropped right into there. So all of a sudden it's like, all right, if we get to that late game, we are shredding through a front to back team composition. But on the other side, the Reapers say, all right, you want to shred through a front to back team composition? What if we built you a front to back team composition with 2 very, very solid supports for a hyper carry?
Yeah, I like this Alistar pickup as well too, because it's a good support, but you also take it away from that Alistar Sivir pairing. Sivir very, very strong right now. Oh, we get the Renekton pickup early, so already showing their hand on the top side here. Surprised we didn't see like a support and jungle pickup yet, because that's pretty much locked in for TPO. But we get the Nami with Sivir. Interesting. I mean, could go well, I guess. Sivir obviously going to be very, very strong in the late game, and seems like Tortuga is very comfortable on those hyper carries. Oh, we get the Lowy pickup. This is, I mean, I've seen this matchup happen a couple times, not firsthand, but you know, in some Clash tournaments, and my Renekton teammate was not having a good time. It's just a Lowy top side. So a very strong counter pick, I think, as someone that doesn't play too much top lane. But
as someone who does play a lot of top lane, there's really only one way to describe allowing matchups, and that is dodge the tentacle or dodge the game. Right? That's really all there is to it. You cannot be getting hit by that, you know, test of spirit. And in the end, you have to be so careful about the damage that Alawi can bring to the team composition. But most importantly, right, Reapers have a phenomenal team composition if your opponent is going to run in towards you, right? If they're going to be kiting back, it's much more difficult. And the Vayne pickup, okay, I like this a lot. So Vayne, a very good 2v2 champion into the Sivir specifically. Now, you do have the Nami to mitigate a lot of the pressure that the Alistar has in that lane, because it's like, okay, well, if we can just keep the Alistar low, then they can't actually engage on us. But in the meantime, Alistar just hits WQ. Sivir doesn't have a way how to actually spell shield that because it buffers it perfectly. But in the end, they've managed to pivot their team composition from a just run forward to we can start running back a little bit. We don't have to just run in, and that's one of the reasons why you don't usually see the Alawi picked up super early on. But in the end, once again, a phenomenal team composition for kiting back for the side of Reaper. And in the meantime, Conduit have a great team composition for delaying out that game with that Sivir, with all of that wave clear, that brand as well. There's not really so much of the actual dashes you're going to be blocking with that Poppy, but at the very least, you got someone who can run straight into that back line with Renekton as a dive buddy.
That's right. Yeah, and you know, definitely with some separation with that Poppy ultimate as well, but how do you lock down this Vayne is the real question, you know? It's just going to be very slippery with Buck piloting this Vayne, and definitely a very scary ADC in the late game too, so definitely could match the hyper carry potential of the Sivir. However, those Sivir, you know, little blades bouncing back and forth can shred through a lot of the team on the side of TPO, so a lot of them will probably be trying to track him down Sivir, and honestly, if you kill the Sivir, I mean, Brand will output some damage, but that damage is kind of unavoidable the moment he throws his ultimate down. But if you could slow down the Sivir and take out the Brand pretty early on, that's not going to be a good time for Cute. So meanwhile, there's a lot of damage on the side of TPO. The Hui, the Vayne, and then the Lowy, of course, is pretty disruptive. Man, there's so much like disruption on the side of TPO, especially with Ivern and that Daisy as well. It's looking like a tough game for Cute. But what do you think? Look at these two teams.
As far as I'm concerned, right? So Conduit actually have a very good team composition as long as they can get to those late game moments, right? Like if you can get to like 40 minutes in where Sivir hits her 6 item power spike, right? Where Brand's AoE just becomes a massive problem for the Vayne as a low range AD carry. It's going to be a matter less of, hey, can we lock down the Vayne, and more of, hey, we just were hitting the Lowy, but Vayne randomly died somehow, right? It becomes very difficult if it does get to those later stages of the game. But I think that Reaper honestly have a very good team composition on their hands as long as they get to objectives first. This is less of a test of hands and much more a test of macro gameplay. And we've seen in those past few games, Reaper might not necessarily be the greatest at pulling the trigger at the right moments, but we're going to have to see what things do turn into. This time, Notorious TLP not going to be on a champion with a go button, instead going to be on that Ivern, just going to try to keep Buck alive as long as possible. And this is the first time we're seeing Buck playing something other than a mage. So this time, Blocky Panda going to be off of that AD mid laner. It's going to be Buck on that AD auto attacking DPS, and we're going to have to see what happens in this game, because I think, as far as I'm concerned, if Reaper can get a lead and get to objectives first, it is their game to lose.
Yeah, that's right. And you know, speaking of the Vayne too, like there's not a lot of heavy health tanks on the side of Conduit, so you know, usually you want to go for some of those tankier options to kind of just like kite them down. But instead, you have a, you know, potentially a Sivir, a Poppy, a Renekton, a Brand just running at you too. So maybe
crit.
maybe not, yeah, could go crit too. Yeah, maybe not the best game for Vayne, but Vayne could still do Vayne things here. And we're going to see how good Buck is on these tumbles as well, trying to avoid some of these bubbles from the Nami. But I think, you know, well-played Vayne is quite hard to deal with here, and you know, like you said, not a ton of dash on the side of TPO, but Poppy is still a very high utility champion and still could provide a lot of value. I would say too, on the jungle side of things, I feel like the first two games have been slightly quieter from the side of Notorious, but we'll see if Notorious finds the opening here with Ivern. A lot of utility and CC that could be provided for the team as well. So I would love to see some of those adjustments from Notorious.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I will say, right? The Poppy ultimate should be very, very useful at breaking down this team composition, right? To make sure that you don't have them in the right place at the right time. The Vayne almost certainly picks for laning, right? It's pretty difficult to see whether or not the Vayne actually is going to be doing that late game Vayne stuff that we all know and love, hate, I don't know, you decide, her for. But the laning phase is where the Vayne into Sivir really shines, right? What's Sivir going to block? Condemn? If Vayne's condemning you mid-fight, chances are you've already lost that fight, unless it's at the very beginning. But when you got an Alistar coming in clutch for you, there's very little that the Sivir's going to be able to do as far as spell shielding goes. Alistar with that WQ buffered, guarantees spell shield won't work, and that condemn is still going to be landing. But in the end, we can yap all we want about this. I am excited to see how this game actually comes into fruition.
Yeah, I haven't seen a Vayne in a hot second here in Divinity League, and you know, not commonly picked up here. Obviously not the Vayne top that we sometimes see once in a while in some solo games. But
like, as far as I'm concerned, right? I don't care who you are. You are not the Shy.
Nope.
Do not pick Vayne top. It is not a great pick. If you want to pick a ranged top laner, pick Zeri. Pick like Quinn. There's so many other top laners who are better for that role. That Vayne just, you pick Vayne if you want to be a bad person, but she's not even the best champion at being a bad person with.
No, not going to be the case at all. Okay, well, we got Buck on Vayne, though, and it is going to be the bot lane Vayne as where she should be. But should be a very exciting game here. This is why I love that Fearless format, too, right? We see some of these pocket picks, some of these stranger compositions come out. But overall, though, I mean, I think there's pretty strong compositions from both sides of things here as we take a look at the summoners. Nothing too crazy. We do have the exhaust on Poodle on the Nami, which I think it will be pretty important, especially when that Vayne starts using that final hour and hunting down the players. I do like the interaction, though, that the potential interaction between Vayne, right, with the Night Hunter passive, and then on the opposite side, we have On the Hunt, right, the ultimate from Sivir to speed up the movement speed of herself and the teammates too, because yeah, that'll be interesting, right? Because I'm pretty sure Sivir should be able to outrun the Vayne in those situations, but I mean, it just depends on how far they're chasing across the map.
Not with final hour active, but outside of that, absolutely should be able to. Now, what I will say is Vayne having that, you know, lethal tempo as the chosen keystone means that it's almost certainly not going to be crit Vayne, right? Don't get me wrong, it's not like lethal tempo is bad on crit Vayne. It's just usually you end up seeing that being the press the attack, right? Something where it's more of just like, well, you know, if I'm just gonna one shot, if I'm just gonna, you know, kill them in 3 auto attacks, why do I need more auto attacks? Right? But the big thing here is all about getting that poke down level 1, trying to make sure that you don't just get all in at level 2. But once again, There's a lot of variation for Vayne builds, right? You have the ability to go with the crit build. You have the ability to go the standard on hit, where you just start with the classic Blade of the Ruined King. There's a much more popular build that's been coming out lately, where you actually go with a experimental hex plate on the Vayne, so you get a little bit more tanky. You get to get that ult off a lot more often, but you also get a lot more attack speed. So I'm excited to see how things do go. I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to build variation, but I love the way how each person does decide to change things up.
Yeah, I mean, some people love to go a little bit off of the builds, but that could definitely surprise opponents in some ways. As Blocky Panda is going to skirmish a bit with Soxicai. Soxicai's low on mana as well, but getting the better of the exchange, as Blocky Panda is going to start popping some of those potions here. As we see all the lanes kind of fairly even for the most part here. We saw Notorious help out the Lowy for a brief second, but a lot of pressure now from this double range bot lane on the side of Conduit, and Buck just going to have to play a little bit safer, especially pre-level 6, right? Vayne's just not nearly as strong. Just going to go for some of these last hits. I think Ludicrous actually doing okay into the Lowy for the time being, but oh, did I miss something?
Oh no, it's just -1.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh man, both of them missing the siege.
A lot of damage here. The ricochets are doing work here to zone Buck off, and the CS difference is starting to balloon a bit already in this early game as you see 10 differential. Roy in trouble here. Black IP is in the area, and there is no ultimate for this Lowy yet. They're going to be pushed back further, and First Blood goes over to Black IPs, and this is going to give a lot of breathing room for Ludicrous.
Yeah, and even more unfortunate for the side of the Reapers. That was a perfectly timed gank for Black Eyed Peas. Did not lose any tempo whatsoever for going for that. It literally just had finished clearing absolutely everything. And all of a sudden, you know, Roy going to be missing yet another one of those E's. You have to be landing those. This might be a kill in response, but at the very least, it is a very tough lane for Alawi now, because that teleport is still staring Roy in the face.
Yeah, and Ludicrous playing it pretty well there too. I mean, behind on items now because Roy was able to back and buy some. Oh, but the flash being expended by both players here. But Roy does get the better end of it. Ludicrous getting a little bit too crazy there, flashing into the turret and gets stunned up in response. So not the best of times there for the Renekton. So things are a little bit back more in favor of the Lowy in some degree, but Ludicrous is able to TP back, and Roy is pretty low on health. If you can hit level 6, maybe you can make something happen here. And level 6 does come through as the Lowy is going to ult and try to heal up as much as possible. Ludicrous does die yet again, back to back. That's right off a respawn. And now things are looking from bad to worse here as Blocky Panda just barely gets out here. But that's 2 back-to-back kills now for the Lowy. Has time to reset and grab an item. Oh, the double flash coming out like a piece. Wait, committing to the chase, and actually does pick up the kill onto Blocky Panda, and that's going to be the best case scenario for that Poppy, because there was no way Black Eyed Peas gets out of there alive, but that kill onto the Hui might make it worth it.
Yeah, but watch this one more time. Roy misses out on that E, but the flash on in from Ludicrous, just way too overzealous. You don't have that damage, but right now, very well played as far as the fundamentals go. Just killing that wave. We saw that experience slowly dwindling down, and right now, survives with that grass proc, hits level 6. Here we go. Grand slam for Roy Dismay, and is just so unbelievably tough for the side of this Renekton. Black Eyed Peas, on the other hand, wants to take out Blocky Panda, flashes in, cancels the auto attack, cancels another auto attack, finally gets the final auto attack, but gives up the feats for it. And I'm gonna be real with you, when Hui still has teleport, I'm not sure how worth it that really is. But most importantly, Ludicrous on that back did not pick up any healing reduction. This Alawi is now an out of control monster.
Yeah, do a great job of just freezing the wave a bit too and making it really, really hard for Ludacris to take much of advantage here. Really great timing from Roy as well too, right? Knowing that he had to finish off a few of these minions to hit that level 6 right when Ludacris's TP was up, and Ludacris trying to go for the greedy kill, but it just backfired, and now puts himself in an even tougher position in this already counter matchup here. As the fights are going down on the bottom side here too, we get the trample going through, and Tortuga is going to be stunned up, but Buck is not level 6 yet and is quite low. Black Eyed Peas is in the area. Soxatize picks up the kill onto Buck, but the Spiraling Despair slows up quite a few members of Cuties as Buck actually going to headbutt Soxatize towards the turret. Doesn't really take too many turret shots, but the trample comes through, and Soxatize is not long for this world as Fembok going to grab up the kill, trying to feed it over to Blocky Panda, but is not in range. Blocky Panda now in trouble here. Oh, a huge headbutt pulverized from the Alistar, but Black Eyed Peas doing a lot of work himself too. Poodle in trouble here as a lot of blood being shed. 3 down on the side of Cute though. 3-for-1 exchange is not really what you want to be doing here if you're the side of Conduits. But it looks like, as we take a look at how this fight broke down, everyone rotating over for this fight.
Yeah, and just like that, it was all about that bubble right at the beginning. Everything and the kitchen sink being thrown directly in to try to save Buck. It doesn't quite work out though, but the flashback in from Fembok means that Soxatize is now on the run. We don't quite get the piercing bolt to actually get the kill, so this is just going to go straight over to Fembok. But right now, Blocky Panda gets re-engaged on, but Fembok comes back in with another beautiful headbutt pulverize. Yes, Blocky Panda goes down at the very end, but so much gold being thrown into this Alistar, and all of a sudden the Moo Cow can run at you even faster, even tankier.
2-0 and 1 on this Alistar, but honestly, a lot of that gold well earned from Fembok, trying to feed it over to the mid laner, but not able to do it. Just going to pick it up for himself. And honestly, that fight looked a little bit rough for TPO towards the end, but just the chain CC stun knockup combinations between the Alistar and between the Ivern, with Daisy helping out there too, just made it so hard for Q to get any damage off. And yeah, they come out the better of side of that fight, as TPO is going to just continue their gold lead there, almost 1k up in gold differential, but they do have the Feats of Warfare under their belt already. Grubs do go over the side of Conduits, but things aren't looking so great for Q, and this is Vayne, you know, pre-scaled up, right? Vayne is now level 6, so Buck's going to start outputting some serious damage quite soon.
Yeah, and one of the other things to note about this Vayne is we still don't really know what build that Buck is going. I'm almost certain it is going to be that Blade of the Ruin King to start, but in the end, top lane is very, very unhappy for Ludacris. Still going to be losing out to not spending 800 gold, but I mean, it happens at high level, it happens at lower level. Like, it doesn't matter where you are. People just seem to be very allergic to buying any sort of healing reduction into Alawi. Yeah. All memes aside, right? You know, you don't want to just be flaming the players for no reason. It's so difficult to actually find an in onto this Alawi now. And, you know, Black Eyed Peas has opted to just kind of ignore top lane, just treat it like the island that we all like to joke that it is. But right now, it might as well be. It's so difficult to find an in onto the Alawi, and now with a dash in and a stun not onto the Alawi, but onto a minion, we're going to get even more fighting in the bot lane.
Fembok trying to stun up Tortuga, but the wave comes through. Buck is knocked up. Buck actually pretty low at this point too. Black Eyed Peas is in the air. You gotta watch out if you're this Vayne, as here comes the flash forward and the charge. Going to be Tortuga that picks up the kill onto Buck. This is the opening they need. Fembok now in trouble here, as Alistar is going to be taken out as well. A kill fed over to that brand. Definitely gold going exactly where you want to go. And I think that, you know, this is really the strategy that Conduit needs to do as Roy takes up another solo kill against this Renekton. If you can find advantages everywhere else on the map besides that top lane, it might be worth it, right, to keep this Alawi up top. But eventually you're going to have to address the, you know, monster that is going to be Roy on this Alawi. However, you know, prior to that fight, we weren't seeing too many advantages going over the side of Conduit, but really great response from Black Eyed Peas there to neutralize the threat of that bot lane and slow them down.
Yeah, honestly, one thing that I'm a little bit surprised about is the fact that they didn't opt to stay to take the tower. Instead, it is going to be a huge gank squad up to that top lane. Ludicrous in a decent position here, but Roy just going to walk away, recall, teleport back in with even more tankiness under his belt here. I'm expecting to see, oh my god, never mind. I was expecting to see a boot completion. Instead, we have a fully completed Iceborne Gauntlet.
Yeah, this Alawi is going to be kind of scary late game. You know, it's going to be a constant threat on the side lanes as well. And then if Roy decides to ever join a team fight, you better hope the Sivir has some items by then, because it could be problematic here. As we see, Soxidice is going to be knocked up briefly, but is going to be a-okay for the time being. Both mid laners on the slightly quieter side of the game, helping out the bot lane whenever they can, but fairly even in this main lane, both with a Blackfire Torch being used up here, as both of them are just going to fight this out and see who comes out on top. Spouting Despair does a ton of damage, though, to Soxidice, and he's going to be the first one to back off here, as the spell is not going to land for that snipe here, as they are starting to get some vision here, but there is a numbers advantage for the side of TPO, as they are going to knock up Tortuga for the time being. Wave comes through, Blocky Panda coming for the flank, as well as the top laners are skirmishing, and no one's died just yet, but the health bars are quite low. Tortuga almost out, but a huge keeper's verdict to push Buck out of that fight to stop the chase for against Tortuga. And wow, I'm just shocked that no one died in any of that sequence there. It looked quite bad because everyone was getting sandwiched on the side of Conduit, but they were able to get out there just fine.
Yeah, and just like that, Poppy, you can stop looking around for the hero because it is Black Eyed Peas. That Keeper's Verdict was perfectly timed to make sure that there was no kill going through over to Buck. And that's even an aggressive flash burned from the Vayne, and everyone knows how juicy it is playing against an 80 carry with no flash, especially when it's Vayne, one of those champions that really does need that extra gold. But let's take a look at this one more time. It's just going to be a root onto Poodle. She's going to get knocked up a little bit, but just like that, Tidal Wave committed, and no kills going through until Black Eyed Peas comes on through, gets a slam into the wall. Buck once again going to get hit again and again, but it just turns into a long extended chase. Fenbach finally goes down, Buck also goes down, and what looked to be a very neutral game overall just suddenly blows open for both sides.
Yeah, definitely. And Roy just kind of could only do so much as just watch it happen, because yeah, the Lowy's fed, but fighting a 1v4 is no easy feat for any champion, even if they are fed. As you can see, TPO going to try to set up some vision here for this Rift Herald. However, members of Conduit are in the area. Renekton may be 0-3, but this is still a 3-level advantage over the Alistar, so not something to mess around too much with. As you can see, Roy going to put up a lot of this pressure here. The wave actually comes through. Fembach and Notorious going to be knocked up for the time being, as we see this. Wait, this looks like deja vu. Actually, it looks like it's happening again, or I don't know what's happening.
We didn't have a replay. We had a vision of the future, but right now.
Yeah, this is actually exactly what we saw in the replay, but it was actually in real time, as real time is actually the replay, because I was a little curious. I didn't remember seeing Buck die in that mid lane. But okay, here we go. We are, some premonition into the future here, as now we are on real time, as Roy is in the area. I don't think this Loud could do too much here. It's legitimately a 1v5 if Budo rotates over here. Roy looking for some type of potential steal, grabs up Soxidice for the time being, and going to do a good chunk of damage to this brand, but is able to get out for now, and they don't really feel confident enough to take on this Alawi, even with those numbers advantage, which I think is probably for the best. You have the ultimate up for the Alawi as well, full health, and yeah, they're just going to back off for the time being. But Blade of Ruin King is complete for the Vayne. The real question is the Vayne going to put in enough damage in these fights? We have yet to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a little bit of a struggle for Buck to actually get any of these autos off in these fights, so we're going to have to see what it actually does turn into. In the meantime, Roy Disney just still going to continue to bully Ludicrous under tower. Oh my goodness, this is not fair.
Yeah, it's a tough position. Ludacris definitely taking one for the team. Oh,
Hold
here
on.
comes the dominance. So wait, gets the shutdown. That's absolutely huge. Does take out Roy in that position under the turret. So Roy getting a little bit too overconfident maybe in that exchange. And that's definitely really good for the side of Conduit as they finally have a way to end the rampage of that Alawi in that top lane. Rift Herald is going to be dropped now from Black Eyed Peas, so things are starting to turn more in favor as they take out this mid turret. Might get another charge onto the second turret as well, as you see Black Eyed Peas just hop in there as soon as possible. Going to get a knock up onto Buck as well. Tortuga actually getting chunked quite a bit though. They're gonna have to back off here after that crash, but getting a lot of value in the last minute there, both on the top side and the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, I was honestly surprised to see that there wasn't a smite coming in from Ivern just to deny that second charge there. But in the end, quite a bit of damage going through here. Another death push going to be put onto Buck.
The blind check, and it is not going to be great for the side of TPO. Notorious does fall to Soxathize. Buck with a great condemn though, pinning Soxathize to that wall here, but they do have to back off a bit as the numbers are still there for the side of Conduit. The TP coming over from Roy though. Roy's looking for some blood, wants some revenge here, does get the tentacle grab onto the Renekton. They're going to do a good chunk of damage onto Ludacris. So Ludacris is going to be just fine for now. 5 members of Conduit still here, still comfortable. Soxathize sitting on top of a ward, not where you want to be, doesn't realize that there is vision on that bush here. Soxathize is going to have to limp over back to the fountain. Man, the goal differential is actually favoring Conduit right now, which is quite good, especially given how strong of a lead there was for TPO on that top side. But honestly, TPO just haven't really found a lot of advantages elsewhere outside of in that Alawi versus Renekton matchup.
Yeah, and one thing I have to note, right? What we've said time and time again is that the Reapers have a very good team composition if you can force the opposing team to walk into you. But every single time that we see them trying to make something happen, every time that we see them trying to force a fight of some kind, it does not work out for them in the end. Instead, it's just damage on damage on damage being pumped into them as they're being kited back away from. So you have to make sure that you're at these objectives first. You have to make sure that you can force the opponent to walk into you. And 2 dragons is absolutely going to be able to put you in a position for that. But right now, your side laners aren't quite as tanky as you need them to be for these fights just yet. Your carries aren't as high damage as you need them to be to actually justify the chasing that you're looking to do just yet. But in the meantime, Buck's still looking for that completed Gwynso's Rage Blade. Just really needs that 2-item power spike. And let me tell you, Vayne with a Rage Blade is a completely different monster.
That's right. We're going to see how Buck scales in that respect. But so far, nothing too crazy from this Vayne just quite yet. There's a lot of ways to kind of dive her in many respects. And you see Black Eyed Peas actually playing a really fantastic game on this Poppy too, right? Going for that Vayne quite a bit, or even neutralizing the Vayne with that Keeper's Verdict to get her out. As you can see, Roy caught in a tough position, but the ultimate is up, and the Lao is healing up quite well here. Not going to be able to pick the Alawi off. And they're trying to get this Otacon, but I just don't really think the positioning is quite there for either side, really. Health bars are kind of low here as Fembok trying to get some vision, but is going to get poked out.
Yeah, I mean, this is a lot more difficult, right? Because a lot of the strength of forcing the enemy team to walk into you is that Alawi ulti, is that ability to just make sure that, hey, I don't care where you are on the map, this is absolutely going to be a problem for you now. But now, without the Brand Ultimate, without the Keeper's Verdict as well, it is going to be very difficult to actually contest the Otacon if they so do choose to do so. But right now, Blocky Panda.
Wait, Ludacris trying to get greedy for the turret. Does get the turret, but feeds a kill over to Blocky Panda instead. I mean, might be worth it. The Renekton's not worth a ton of gold there, and they get a little bit more control over the map. But I don't know if Ludacris really need to die. They could have just backed off and gone back in when the wave came back over. Well, I'm sure Blocky Panda will happily take that kill as we see Blocky Panda TPing over here. They might have an opening for this Otacon. Let's see, because this Renekton is down for another 14 seconds. Oxidize positioned very far forward. Fenbach trying to find an opening here, walking forward on this cow and not looking for it just yet, but they have great position for it. And Roy going for the flank. Black Eyed Peas caught in a tough position now, has to face check to Lowy. And Lowy finding a lot of space for the rest of the team here as you see Ludacris TPing in. Daisy going to go down quite soon. Oh, still there, actually. But they want to try to keep this Daisy alive as long as possible. Daisy does go down. The tentacle grab does land onto Tortuga. A great target for this Alawi. Tortuga's got to get out of that range of Alawi for a time being and is so chunked now. Health bars are quite low on Roy as well, as Roy's going to try to flash out of there. But I think the Pyroclasm as bouncing back and forth as Oxidize is on a rampage now, and it's going to be Cute that secures the Drake on the side of the Poppy. Buck chasing people down, trying to do Vayne things, but I think this is too much work just for Vayne to do as Fenbach and Blocky Panda are still alive. Roy still alive in the corner as well. A lot of blood being shed all over the place. 3-for-3 trade here, but the jungler is still alive on the side of Cutes. I don't think they're going for this Archon because health bars are quite low, not enough damage, but that Drake going over to them is going to be a huge advantage on the side of Conduit.
Yeah, I mean, a huge part of that fight, right, was the fact that Roy did not get that high value ultimate that we really want to be seeing from these Alawi players. He didn't get the huge zoning ulti that was a necessity in these big fights. The reason why Reapers want to be at these team fights early is so that they can set up all these tentacles, so they can set up all of this pressure. But in the end, Soxitize was able to just walk forward, drop the Pyroclasm, and all of a sudden, that's AoE damage out the wazoo when you've got an Ocean Soul just running straight down towards you. And more importantly than that, that is feats for the side of Conduit. And right now, the Otacon once again being looked at, but I'm not sure if they can really commit to it, not without making sure that Soxitize is not going to just pop them.
Oh, and speaking of getting popped here, Poodle gets popped right now in that bush. And unfortunately, trying to get some vision for the team, but the team was not there to back her up. You can see Fenbach just zoning away the members of Conduit as much as they can. They're taking a lot of damage, though, from this Otacon as Fenbach is quite low himself, is able to walk out for now. But Soxitize is in the area, and Soxitize has been dishing out a lot of damage on this brand. The health bars are pretty low now on the side of TPO. Let's see if they can make something happen here as Soxitize going for the flank on the right side here. Can they get the smite steal is the real question. No, it is going to be Notorious that grabs the Otacon. Huge for them, but Notorious does go down. Fenbach goes down as well, and now Buck is ejected into this river, gets stunned up. Buck goes down on top of it. It's going to be a double kill over to Ludacris. You can see Roy chasing down the ADC, does get a little bit gold for his troubles, and now going for some bit more. All right, this is going to be the real test. Allow it. Can Roy pull this off? This is a true 1v3 here. Full health bars on the side of Conduits, and Roy going to be in a little bit of tough position here. They do have some anti-heal now on this Renekton, and they take out Roy. Roy takes down Ludacris, though. Roy still kind of a raid boss in his own right, but oh man, that was a weird back and forth fight. The Otacon was secured from TPO, but they still are down about 2k gold.
Yeah, and one thing to note after that, Roy's been doing this in a 1v3, no magic resist just yet. All of that damage coming in from Soxitize was completely unmitigated, but now Roy going to be picking up the components for a Spirit Visage that's going to make this Alawi even more scary. But I have to note, right, so much of this game has been spent with me saying, hey, well, this is your win condition, this is how you're supposed to play, etc., etc. And so much of this game has actually just been both of these teams completely ignoring that and saying, but what if we just did our own thing, right? Like, what if the Alawi, who's supposed to be our anti-engage tool, left the team so that way she could go 1v1 the Sibber that's hitting the tower instead of with her team for some reason, right? Like, it's just so much of these players opting to go for plays that look good in the moment without playing to their overall win condition. And I do wonder what this is going to turn into. In the meantime, Soxathize still able to put out a lot of damage. That brand passive is doing so much work here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Soxathize can do that 1v1, but going to be as annoying as possible for Roy. And Roy is now sick and tired of Soxathize. Can Roy do something here? I mean, Roy's 2 levels down, tries to flash out here. Does barely get out of there alive, but I don't know if it was all worth it or not. A lot of resources spent on Soxathize. Maybe just trying to test and see, you know, how strong is this Alawi really? I've been seeing it all over the map, but maybe I could take her out 1v1, and that's not going to be the case. Did have some cheeky poke damage, though, to slow Roy down a bit, but at the end of the day, it did cost Soxathize his ultimate and his flash in exchange for ultimate from the Alawi. So overall, good exchange for the Alawi. As we see, the Rage Blade is completed now for the Vayne.
Yeah, Rage Blade fully completed a huge power spike here. Now, the big thing is if they can get to Soul Point with this Ocean, this could be huge. There's not going to be an ultimate for the Alawi just yet, but if you can stall out for enough time, it should be fine. This Keeper's Verdict is super crucial for Black Eyed Peas. In the meantime, Pyroclasm not quite up just yet. You have to watch those cooldowns. You have to watch to make sure that you're not missing out on anything huge. But the Dragon is going to get started up. They do have the ability to remove any sort of vision on this Dragon, but they are not going to commit to taking that Ocean Dragon. Instead, they're going to delay a little bit. Soxathize not going to be able to do much more than just the quick stun, but this could be a huge early poke onto Roy.
Yeah, Soxathize is really dishing out quite a bit of damage. I wouldn't be surprised if he topples the damage charts at the end of this game. Look at the health on Roy. Already half health just from a brief exchange with Soxathize. Roy does have the TP up. Oh, going for the flank from the mid lane. Let's see if the Q is aware of this or not. They see the TP come through, and now they are slightly on the run here. As you can see, the chase is on for TPO. Here comes, oh, a great step-back presence to stop the knock-up combination from the Alistar, and now Roy is getting chunked yet again here. Is going to drop the ultimate to try to heal back up as much as possible, and is almost back to half health. Violent Despair is going to be used on Soxathize, and Tortuga is caught in the mix here as Blocking Panda is so low on health. Notorious goes down. However, we get a kill. Buck takes out the brand, but Tortuga is on a double kill here, takes out the Vayne, and they don't have a jungler, so they cannot contest this Drake. They're going to deny Soul Point for the side TPO, which is going to be fantastic for Conduit because you do not want Ocean Soul on Alawi that's already hard to kill.
Yeah, but right now, a huge part of that fight was just forcing people into positions they didn't want to be in. And in the end, the Pyroclasm does so much damage. The bouncing blades from Sivir's Ricochet just do so much work. And the AoE is so difficult to play on. They have to turn it into multiple skirmishing compositions. But right now, let's just take a look at how this one happened one more time. They just barely catch vision of the Alawi recalling. The teleport back in to that mid lane for that flank. And all of a sudden, you know, Conduit decide, hey, let's turn on to Roy here, the Alawi, who's separated from her team. In the meantime, Reapers walk up. They say, all right, we have to protect this Alawi. We have to make sure that Roy's able to do everything that he can there. The Spiraling Despair manages to hit the back line. Buck also walks straight on in, goes a 1-to-1 against Soxathize, but takes so much damage in response. With 2 items on the Vayne, you just cannot really put yourself into that backline 1v2 just yet. But that Wit's End is slowly being built up, and this team is slowly getting more scary if you can avoid those front-to-back team fights.
Yeah, and I really like that flank from Ludicrous as well, right? Going through that Riverside and chunking Blocky Panda to just push him back, and then also Notorious goes down in the process. Speaking of Notorious going down in the process, going to start getting some damage here. Fembok already in the half health, but Black Eyed Peas gets condemned against the wall. It's super low now. Still has the Keeper's Verdict, but not the health bar you want for the Poppy for the time being. Does eat up some of those fruits to heal back up as much as possible here. As Fembok goes for the Pulverized Headbutt combination. Tortuga caught in a slightly tough position. Does get out for the time being. Daisy going to be on the chase here against the Sivir, but Daisy is a little bit far out there as they're going to recall Daisy towards the Ivern, and yeah, I mean, things are, I feel like this Alawi is super fed, but the rest of the team is just not handling this damage quite well. You know, they're catching Black Eyed Peas, but Black Eyed Peas is so tanky on this Poppy that he's A-okay. And with Roy in this bottom lane as well, I think Conduit see their opening. They're saying, you know what, we could put a lot of pressure on, maybe even go for this Baron for the time being. Soxatize sees that they're going for the recall. This might be their opening for the Baron. As you can see on the mini map, they are going for it. And Ludicrous fighting Roy under turret, as Roy taking out the turret now makes it much easier to fight Ludicrous. They have to take this Baron as soon as possible because Ludicrous may need some help if they'll allow it, keeps pushing the advantage here. However, spotted from TPO. Oh, the Keeper's Verdict does knock the Ivern away. That's absolutely beautiful from Black Eyed Peas. And now an easy smite for the Baron. They're going to get out of it. Buck is on the chase. However, you have to be careful with those tsunami bubbles. And yeah, getting a lot of value for Conduit. And TPO getting absolutely nothing outside of one tier 2 turret.
Yeah, they're going to be able to get the tier 2 turret. They are able to win in that side lane, but in the end, giving up a Baron for a couple towers might not be the position that you want to be in, especially because another Ocean Drag is spawning in less than 2 minutes. You have to be so careful about these team fights now. Black Eyed Peas trying to find an in on to the Reapers, but once again, there's no Alawi. There's not really that real deterrent to keep people away from that kite away composition. What Buck has been able to pick up quite a bit of gold, opting to back instead of going for the wave, so I'm sure that the Wit's End is completed. There we go. And 3 item vein is only going to get scarier and scarier as this game continues. But right now, Fenbach could be in a lot of trouble. Burns the flash as well. Says, all right, I understand that I don't have my ultimate here. I'm just going to make sure to stay alive as much as possible.
Just trying to get some vision for the team, but the map control is heavily in favor of Conduit. However, we do have Roy pushing out these lanes. I do like this play a lot, you know, of relieving a lot of this pressure here, knowing that most of the members are in this mid lane. Outside of Ludicrous. And I gotta say, Ludicrous, you know, it's a tough matchup for him, was down early as well, but doing his best to kind of keep this Alawi as occupied as possible. But it looks like because this way clear from TPO, they're not really able to make anything out of this Baron Plague just quite yet. They're just trying to get some vision, but you know, they really need to do something here, as you see Roy just beating down on these towers and doing a lot of damage into the Renekton. As we see, the pulverized headbutt combination comes through. Fenbach, though, kind of by himself now. There's no follow-up damage onto the Sivir at all, as the Sivir starting to chunk away. Tortuga gets knocked up yet again. And Spiral Despair completely is whiffed here. And so look at the health bars. Fenbach super low. Everyone else is so healthy on the side of Conduit as Tortuga is on a killing spree. There goes to Ivern. And they need the help of Roy ASAP at this point in time. We see a TP coming over. Soxatize is going to try to back up the Renekton. Renekton actually takes out Roy and the Alawi. I mean, with the assistance of the turret, but this is absolutely brutal for TPO because that was their ace in the hole. And now that Alawi's dead too, with the Baron buff still around and the ricochets bouncing back and forth. They're doing so much. Fenbach trying to go for the engage here. Can they do it? No, the wave, the tidal wave knocks up Blocky Panda. And now finally the shutdown goes over to the side of Buck, which is absolutely where you want the damage to be, where you want the gold to be. But Blocky Panda does go down in the time being, and Fenbach gets taken out as well. I mean, this is a Vayne on 3 items, but it's still a lone Vayne and behind levels as well. I don't know if Buck has what it takes to do it, but they're going to get a lot of value here so far in this mid lane push.
Yeah, and just like that, you see Fenbach constantly looking for these engages, constantly looking to try to make something happen. Buck right now, though, we've got prime Vayne spotting on our hands, baby. Flash forward for Black Eyed Peas. Buck once again going to be opting to try to get out of the fight rather than into it. Poodle going toe-to-toe with the Vayne, but you cannot be relying on the Vayne for damage in those particular situations. Black Eyed Peas once again going straight into that back line, and Buck kiting all the way under tower. Look at all of this damage coming through, but none of it's going to net a kill.
Black Eyed Peas is so thick with it, just cannot go down to the bait. And here comes Ludacris slicing and dicing through, and the brand damage as well. Look at how much damage. Roy just gets popped instantly at this point in time too. And all that health, all the advantage that this Lowy has is now gone. As you can see, the team differential is just way too big right now. About 6k gold differential. Now 5k gold differential for the side of Conduit. They are going to grab up the middle inhibitor turret and the inhibitor itself, as we take a look at how this fight broke down.
Yeah, I mean, this time I'll let you take care of this because I ended up taking the play.
Oh, it's all good. As we see, you know, how, you know, a lot of this damage is coming through, but man, Black Eyed Peas is just so bulky here. As you see the flash coming through from Buck to avoid getting hit from that bubble, but the damage is so much. Look at Black Eyed Peas too, just taking a lot of this damage for the team, no problem, right? Like, it doesn't matter if it's a Vayne with 3 items hitting Black Eyed Peas. They're just cycling through the damage quite a bit, and Notorious just dies instantly in a lot of these fights. Roy trying to do something, but missing the tentacle grab is not it. And unfortunately, the ultimate comes through, but Socks, the thighs is so strong right now, able to stun up to allow it and just buy so much space for the team. I mean, look at Black Eyed Peas just getting knocked back and forth and just no problem. And now Ludacris comes through, and this alligator is online, wants some vengeance against that Lowy. And Spiral Despair missing there is absolutely brutal. I think that's back-to-back Spiral Despair is being missed, unfortunately, from Blocky. And yeah, that's not going to be great for the rest of the team here. As we see, the pockets are deep for the side of Conduit, and we have no objective spawning for the time being, so maybe a little bit opening, but that's 3 Ocean Drakes already on the side of Conduit. Oh, as we see, Notorious caught yet again. That's going to be an 8th death for the Ivern. Has not been a good game for this Ivern, unfortunately. But the problem is, you know, you just don't have enough people to find the vision needed. Bembok caught in a tough position as well. Goes for the headbutt, pulverize. Oh, and now you catch Roy. Roy in a tough position, but Roy is going to drop that ultimate. Try to heal up as much as possible. Tortuga doesn't even care, just standing in there, throwing the ricochets back and forth. Look how much damage coming through. Spiral Despair does land. They don't even care. They're chasing him down. Black Eyed Peas is right on top of Buck. The kill goes over to Socks Dice. Blocky Panda just trying to do whatever he can to thin out the wave. I like this play. Make it a little bit hard to push. And buying a lot of time for the rest of the team, but there's just not a lot of time left. You got 10 seconds on the Ivern, but what's the Ivern going to do here? As you see the TP coming out from Black Panda. Can you get it off? No! Gets stunned up, gets canceled. Black Eyed Peas doing everything he can for the team to stop the fence here. As we see the mid in Nexus turrets are getting chunked here. As we see, first turret does go down here, and Notorious trying to do whatever he can, but Daze is about to go down. This is a lone Ivern with pretty much no items to his name, and it looks like Conduit is going to take game number 3 here over TPO, pulling off the reverse sweep here and taking game number 3, 31-17.
Yeah, and game number 3, once again, a banger for the ages. We had interesting team compositions being chosen. We had interesting, you know, team decisions being chosen. But in the end, what can you do against AoE on AoE on AoE on AoE?
Oh,
right?
look at that.
It's just so much damage. I mean, look at that. Exactly what you were saying in the middle of that game, where you said, I wouldn't be surprised if Brand ended up doing the most damage in the game. And dear Lord, did he? Right? It was those pyroclasms, those constant procs of the passive, just constantly doing so much work across the backline. And this is the thing that I warned about early on, where it says, all right, as long as you can make sure that Conduit is running in towards, you know, Reapers, you're fine, right? Because you can play the kite back team composition, you can play okay. But if you do play a proper front to back team fight, Conduit is going to throw a bunch of things at you, and your Sivir is the Sivir and Brand are going to randomly net a kill onto the Vayne without ever having to auto her once. It's just so unbelievably difficult to play into as a low range AD carry unless you can split them out into separate skirmishes. But in the end, that is going to be the conclusion for what we've got tonight here, and it has been a wonderful time to be able to experience it with you, Caleb.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful time to experience with you, Auntie, and everyone watching as well. I mean, we had a crazy set of games. TPO picking up the first one, but it was all Conduit after that. I mean, like you said, the between the bouncing of the ricochet and the pyroclasm, like there's you don't even have to get like they don't even have to aim skill shots at you, right? If you're just in the fight, you're just getting chunked so much. And a really great draft, honestly, from Conduit in that final game. And great comeback as well for Ludacris, who is definitely not having the best of time against Roy, but Alawi does can only get so strong at a certain point in time. So big congrats to Conduits. Cute for both a fantastic game and also having a very cute logo, if I do say so myself. But this is just week one of Divinity League. So we have, I believe, 7 weeks, 6 more weeks remaining of the regular season. And we have, I think, 14 teams, I believe, in total. So a lot of teams that will be featuring on a weekly basis on every Monday here at our usual time. I believe we also have some merch as well for Titan Esports. If you want to support the awesome organization hosting all these grassroots events, I think the website is fofesports.com/Titan.
/Titan.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, there we
go.
go. Yeah. And we got some summer merch. I know summer is slowly, fading away a bit, but they also have some plenty of fall, winter merch as well. So pick up your own Titan Esports merchandise if you'd like to support the brand and, rep your favorite grassroots organization. But that's gonna pretty much do it for us. So big congratulations to Conduit, and thank you for sharing the mic with me, Auntie. And of course, we had Loki on the observer duties and Shuriken on broadcast. Any final words from you?
I mean, you took them all out of my mouth. All I can say is thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Hope you had a wonderful time. And make sure to tune in to the rest of the Titan Esports broadcast throughout the week. Once again, always here at 5 p.m. PST, 8 p.m. EST, Monday through Friday. So make sure to catch each and every one of them if you want to stay up to date on Titan Esports. But in the end, thank you all for tuning in and have a wonderful night.
We'll catch you all next week.